What up? Mario here, Infighting FX. You know what it is. I am recovering from this weekend. We didn't go live yesterday if you couldn't tell. I wasn't feeling well. So here's what happened. Uh we went live this weekend for the Ryan Garcia fight, for the ring card. We went live also for the terrible Wood Warrington rematch that we'll talk about later as well. Uh And so we had a bunch of people jump on despite the fact that the lights cut out and we lost power. Everybody, was cool and all that. Let me see. Hold on. Let me try this. All right, my bad. Hold on. Dude, come on. Anybody that books for Monday just doesn't show up. But I used to do that all the time, so I guess I can't complain. All right. All right. Just had to promote a little bit. And then cancel with a couple people. But we are live. We're gonna talk about everything in the world that happened. First of all, though, yeah, we were live on Saturday. Everything cut out, went back live, ended up with like way more people than we did the first time, which was cool. But we were in the middle of the Ryan fight. I knew what time it was, and my stomach started hurting. I was like, man, I fucking feel like I have to take a shit or something. And so the fight's almost over. And uh literally, I'm like, I'm not waiting for the fucking scorecards. Like, I'm just gonna end the live and go to the bathroom. Like, if you notice, I went to the bathroom to go piss twice, right? Like during the fight. And the first time, someone was in the restroom, and the second time I went. So I'm like, 12th round. There's like a minute and a half left. And I'm like, so should I just like keep everybody on live for a while? No, I can't do that. I was like, okay, so then I'm just gonna end it. I'm just gonna end it, right? Like, I'll come back and do a post show. That's what I'll do. I'll do a post show. So I'm gonna end everything. I'm gonna come back, and it'll be even better because now I'll have a different title on every single like platform, right? Like every single platform, I'll have a different title, and it'll be like post show, like questions after Ryan Garcia, or like Ryan Garcia aftermath, questions answered, what are your thoughts, like type shit, right? And so I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. And so then I go to the bathroom, and my stomach starts like really hurting, like like a sharp pain, like a sharp, sharp pain, and I'm like, "Damn, what the fuck is going on?" Like, I definitely don't have to take a shit, I know that now. And so I'm like, "Fuck it." I end the show, and I start setting it up to come back, and the pain is, like, growing a little bit, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, "Damn, I gotta fucking piss, like, bad." So I fucking run to the bathroom, right? And this is like fucking like drop trow piss, right? I'm just like fucking Eddie Hearn getting his pants pulled down at the airport. And dude, I kid you not, I fucking passed another kidney stone. Another one. Small, it wasn't that bad, honestly. I mean, it hurt like shit, but yeah. So anyway, got to get another appointment with the doctor. But yeah, dude, this is crazy. This is getting weird now. I'm like not super worried because I know I've done the research. I know that the kidney issues that I have cause mineral production or I forget the word, but it's like where your body withholds more minerals than it should. It doesn't dispose of them as easy. And so, yeah, dude, I was down for the count after that. That was it Saturday. I was like, okay, I'm not coming back. Literally, I put everything up best I could. Um, and yeah, I went home. And so then I woke up the next day. I was like feeling much better, but still not great. Um, it was more like psychological, I think. Like, cause it was like I didn't feel sick. I didn't feel like anything I had before. This was like it was just like a normal experience in my body, and that's the part that worries me. It's like becoming more routine. Like imagine like you have a cavity, right, as a kid, and they're like, "Oh, terrible experience. They extract it. It hurts, all this stuff." And then like you start getting more and more cavities, and it doesn't hurt as much as it used to. And also like the tech is better and stuff, right? So they're able to like give you like, Novocaine and stuff like that. Um Yeah, but it's like you don't wanna just keep getting cavities. It doesn't help just because it's not as troublesome as it once was. You know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't help. That doesn't help matters, but anyway, we are gonna get into the, Ryan Garcia fight. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about the Wood fight as well. Um, I am probably gonna just stay live until Monday Night Raw. Um, uh, yeah, so anyway, fuck. Let's see. Why does it do that? Um, Alright. I don't know why the fuck it's doing this, dude. This is so weird. All right. So anyway, we're gonna talk about the Ryan Garcia stuff. We're gonna talk about um all that. Shout out to Matt. Cut back on them sodiums and sugars, champ. Yeah, no shit. Um, yeah, they gave me these meds and they help. You're not supposed to like take them all the time. You're just like supposed to take them when you're feeling sick. So I was like, why it was more troublesome because it was like, damn, this came out of nowhere. And like, what are these pills worth now if I don't notice a kidney stone until like that's like, you know what it was? It's like one of those horror stories. You know, like you hear those horror stories about like, women who are a little more voluptuous that have like more to love about them, and then they don't know they're pregnant for like the whole 9 months, and then they go to have a toilet baby. I don't mean to call it. That's not right. I shouldn't have said toilet baby. A child gives birth into a toilet. That happens, and that's happened before. My wife has shown me the crazy TLC documentary, so I have evidence and receipts if you need them. But yeah, that's kind of what it was like. It was like, wait, that can happen? And then you see it happen. You're like, oh shit, is that going to ever happen again? Am I going to be in the vicinity of when that happens again? But anyway, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. We got Ryan Garcia, Mario Barrios. What did you think? Was that one of the best case scenarios that Ryan Garcia could have gone through, right? A lot of people might say no, it would have been better for if he had scored a knockout. I don't know if I agree. Because Ryan Garcia didn't need a knockout to be back, right? He carries so much monetary value with him to lawyers and networks and promoters and people involved in the Ryan Garcia experience, right? Let's just call it that for now. So people involved in the Ryan Garcia experience, they knew that Ryan did not need to do anything but win. And here's the thing. I think I'm willing to go as far as to say Ryan didn't need to do anything but like have like 4 or 5 swing rounds. You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't have to beat the champ to be the champ. Not in this case scenario. Boxing works in a weird way that even though Mario Barrios was treated like the A side and he was given the A side billing, he was not the A side in this fight. I don't care what anybody says. At the end of the day, the only reason that the numbers that will come out, whatever they are, positive or negative, they are mostly due to Ryan Garcia and his polarizing fame. Whether that's a good thing or bad thing, I mean, that's not the point I'm making. I'm just trying to say that Ryan Garcia's value in the sport makes him unlike most fighters in that his value is not dictated on performance. Now, don't get me wrong. It was an incredible performance. Again, I say the question is this: what would have been better for Ryan Garcia's career overall or for the fight or the popularity of him or whatever post-fight, for the decision win that he got or a knockout victory that he didn't? And again, I say it's the decision that means more because, again, he doesn't need the power of stardom that is associated with knockout victories. He already has that kind of stardom. What he needed was to prove to real boxing insiders, to real people in the sport, the people that have the ability to make these fights, aka Turkey, who had a fucking ringside seat there with his mandals on top of the table. I'm just kidding. I wear sandals too sometimes. It's Texas. And so sandal weather is, by the way, it's like January for us. Like November to December is like sandal weather. It's like 72 here, so 75. And so anyway, the question was, is Ryan Garcia solid? Y'all know what I mean by that? Like a lot of times in my community, I'll talk to y'all, and I know like a lot of y'all, y'all work from home or you know what I mean, like whatever. And so, you tell, from what I understand, a lot of people in my community, like this is their community. This is their, interactions and stuff throughout the day. Like not just me, obviously, like they follow tons of people, I'm sure, but it's this, right? It's being on and like communicating and having you be able to like interact in the chat and come on live and share your thoughts and stuff and tell me I'm wrong, right? Like this is not the boxing voice. No, I'm just kidding. Shout out Ness. No, but like honestly, like I used to have a problem with Ness a lot of times when he would just like shit on somebody, not because they were wrong or stupid, which I can, understand the desire to want to yell at somebody who's stupid, but it would be just because they didn't agree with him, right? And he would like put these moronic fucking like I love Ness. I love him. He said something and I almost fucking burned him to the ground one of the last times I was on. Not this last time that I was on, but one of the last times I was on last year. He had said I was talking about Terrence Crawford's Triple G being Earl Spence in terms of commercial appeal, and what he did to him is much more significant still, even in the face of what Canelo Triple G ended up being, right? A trilogy, I mean, and how much money it made. And he said, "Oh, that's a bullshit take. We talk real boxing around here." And I almost said it. I didn't, but I wanted to say it. I want to say, no, you talk really about Ness's boxing. And I love Ness, but it took me years to convince him that the European and the English fighters and the UK fighters were worth a watch and not bums, as he called them. It took me years to convince him to give love and respect to the smaller weight divisions, I should say. Took me years to get him to respect the history and understand what it means to understand the lineage that comes before and just picking shit up on a fucking dime. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we would get into that kind of shit all the time. And so like it is frustrating, but you could come on here and I'm not gonna fucking hate on anything you say. And so people say that, it's like, I get it. There's like sometimes you don't have the ability to like communicate with other people around you or whatever. So all I'm saying is that Ryan Garcia. Wait, I don't even remember why I was even making that point, to be honest with you. But anyway, the point I'm making though overall is Ryan Garcia had an incredible performance. He looked great. He came out from the fucking jump and just absolutely took control, took momentum away from Mario Barrios, and he stood solid. Okay, that's the word that I was actually trying to refer to. That word means something today that it didn't mean when I was younger. Like the word solid, it means something different. I don't mean like the actual word solid. I mean like what it means to be solid, because so many people aren't. You know what I'm saying? Like you go and if you live in the world, you have a community out there, you're going to come across so many people that are going to let you down. Being solid, that's the fucking answer right there. You can have LeBron James talent. You can have like Mike Trout God-given ability, right? You can have those things, but they do not count at all in the face of hard work. At all. You can't be so good from a raw standpoint that you're able to just travel the leaps of levels in your respective sport. It does not work like that. You can have a kid who looks and plays exactly like Messi out there in fucking elementary, middle school. I don't know what the fuck the UK calls their shit, grade 2, whatever. And you can have that, right? But if that kid doesn't get the proper training, the proper everything, right? The guidance, then it doesn't matter what the fuck, how good he is, because he's just going to die on cocaine when he's 21. And I'm not trying to be fucked up about it and say this in a way that sounds like disheartening. I'm not. I've had friends die from fucking coke. I've had family struggle with addiction for years. It at the end of the day, all I know is that when drugs become a problem, so much so that they start to seep into your profession, that's it. You ain't solid no more. And Ryan Garcia on Saturday proved he's still solid. That's what he did on Saturday. He proved he's solid right now. Will he be solid tomorrow? I don't know. And I'm not, oh man, this sounds like I'm trying to hate. I'm not. I swear to God, I want this kid to be better than he was the day before. You know what I'm saying? But he showed different levels of retard. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to be judgmental at all. I swear to God, I wouldn't even be here. Y'all would hate me. The whole world would hate me if there was a camera following me in my my late teens and early 20s, right? Like I would get canceled probably for being everything under the sun. And so I get it. I get it. It's a tough life. I'm sure that I will never understand the kind of pressure that kid's been under. That said, he ain't been solid. He ain't been solid, and the kind of behavior he shows ain't been solid. He was solid on Saturday night. Let's see. Matt said, I think Sergio Moore said it best. Mario Barrios doesn't have a championship gear. That is very well said. I didn't catch him say that, but that is a very, very well said point. Here's the thing. I don't think that was the case in the fight, right? Like he didn't lose that fight because he didn't have a championship gear, but I think we've seen enough from Mario to know he is missing that championship gear. And that is when you have a fight with a guy who can be upper level talent guy, like top of the division guy, but he hasn't been really dedicated. And then you have a guy who's been super fucking dedicated, but is missing that championship gear. That was the fight we watched on Saturday. That's the fight I told y'all we were going to watch on Saturday. I said this a million times. Matt said this a million times. A lot of you knew, I said that this was like a modern day Vargas De La Hoya. In a lot of ways it was, in a lot of ways it wasn't, but in a lot of ways it was. And one of those major factors was Ryan Garcia, a kid who should be a lot of things, could have been a lot of things, maybe is still a lot of things, but hasn't even come close to proving it. But he was given an opportunity that most guys who are seen struggling like him do not get, not without the power of their appeal, right? Their market appeal. And Ryan Garcia showed absolutely 100% that he's levels above that Mario Barrios, right? Levels above the kinds of guys that are like a Mario Barrios. Some people called him a C+ fighter. Some called him a B+ fighter. Whatever you rank him, he's not a B+, I don't think either, but he's certainly not an A fighter. And that we can definitively say. We have enough proof, evidence, data points, and reoccurring sequences to safely say Mario Barrios is missing that championship gear. I think simultaneously, we can also say, based on after Saturday's fight, we have enough data to say that Ryan's a real fucking problem. A real fucking problem in the ring for anyone. I think. These fighters that come across him, right? They are beaten mentally in the outside of the ring in the lead up to the fight, and then are beaten physically in the fight. It's like, it's fucking nuts. It's nuts if you think about it. Man Cave, shout out 702 Man Cave, said Floyd needs to sit down. Oh yeah, champ. We are about to get heavy into the Mayweather-Pacquiao talk. Matt said, let's collab, champ. Hey, you jump on whenever you want, champ. You let me know. I'll send you the link. Maybe you could jump on tonight. We could do one of them, late night. Hopefully we don't get canceled by this story shows. 702 said, and women are trouble too. Champ, that certainly can be the case for people for sure. So listen, we're going to talk more in depth on the card, the Ryan Garcia stuff. That'll be the first topic we talk about. We're going to also talk about Clarissa Shields, Little Caesars Arena. She defeated Cruz Dezern. Franchon, they put on a good show, I thought. I thought she went out of her way to make that fight probably a little more exciting than it could have been had she gone through the motions. But the debate's been kicked off again. Is she the GOAT? Are we watching the probably final days, right? I would say what? Like, would anybody think that she has more than 5 fights left in her? Like, no way, right? Less than 5. And I mean that for 2 reasons. One, she's been in the game a decade, bro. You know what I mean? The other thing is that she's at that stage in her career where it's like, if you ain't talking money, then I ain't listening, champ. You know what I mean? And that's the way it is. Um, Matt said, send it. I'm ready for the hot tag. Hell yeah, champ, doing that now. I'll send it to your phone, or do you want me to just put it on the thing? I've been trying to like copy it off the phone. How do y'all get the YouTube link? How do you get the StreamYard link to join from YouTube? Because like literally every time I try to do it, I even tried it on my other thing. Either way works. Okay, well then let me do this. You know what? I'm gonna go piss real quick. I'm gonna put it in. So if you need like time to set up or anything, don't even worry about it. But before I go piss, I'm gonna tell y'all, Man Cave said it right here, bro. Barrios is a Friday night fighter. And listen, there ain't nothing wrong with the Friday night fighter. Let me tell y'all right now, because I know that the community that's watching right now and not in 2 hours that are just watching to see if I'm going to show Raw, I know y'all are real boxing fans. I know y'all are real fight fans. I know y'all are real combat sports fans, and y'all got this shit in your heart. You love it like I do. And I appreciate that shit. I there's nothing wrong with the Friday night fighter. What was his name? Pavel, right? And Edwin Rodriguez, and what was the other one? The other Rodriguez, the one that fought Pavel in the 2 fights on Friday Night Fights. They were bangers. Yo, those guys were good. Hey, Provodnikov, that was a Friday night fighter. Stand on fucking business. Understand what it means. I seen so much disrespect about Mario Barrios. And don't get me wrong, I'm cool with the memes. They're funny, right? Superbeck sent me one with some dude outside like a cash checking place or whatever trying to get in. And the caption said, Mario Barrios outside the PBC office on Monday waiting to get in to talk about his next championship fight. Because I'm going to be honest, that's another dude who, there were some weird opportunities he got. I'm not saying he didn't deserve them. Like, cut that noise that he got any special treatment or some shit. He was the only Mexican that BBC had under contract, like guaranteed, right? Like be able to like fully invest. Mario Barrios is a PBC product. Understand this. Sean Porter was not really a PBC product. Sean Porter had the benefit of several other promoters before he entered the sphere of PBC. And PBC brought him to a different level, sure, but Earl Spence, Deontay Wilder, the Charlo twins, none of those guys that a lot of people would have considered PBC's best acquisitions, best acquirements, best fighters at a certain point in the 2010s were maybe they were wrong how good they were. Oh, I'm just kidding. We're not talking about that. I love the Charlos, even though they're very problematic. The problem is that so many people don't understand what 702 Man Cave just said. Okay. And what he said was Barrios is a Friday night fighter. That is not a disrespectful thing that he's saying. That is not a diss. Okay. There is a badge of honor to be the kind of fighter that can headline a Friday night fights, that can headline a Tuesday night fights, that can headline for De La Hoya down at the fucking, what was it? The Verizon? No, not Verizon. What was it? The place that he had with DAZN, and he did his Thursday night and then eventually Friday night shows. What was it fucking called? Oh my God. I'm smoking too much again, I think. To be fair, my plug was back in town and Jesus Christ, this stuff that I got, I don't even know what the name of it is. It's fucking crazy. I told him what happened. Me and my plug are kind of friends. I'm not gonna lie about it. I'm friends with my plug. Okay. Is it weird? Yes. Is it sad? Maybe. But I'm friends with my plug. He's really a nice kid, honestly. I'm about 20 years older than him, which is weird. I'm not gonna lie about that. That part is sometimes tough. But ultimately, he's a good kid. And he's a good man, I should say. He's not a kid, it's just much older than him. And I told him, hey, dude, I'm not feeling well. And I had just re-up like last week. And so I think he was kind of surprised hearing from me. And so I was like, damn, this just happened, bro. I'm not feeling well. Like, and he came over, he brought me something. It's like medical grade, but I think there might also be psilocybin in it. I don't know. All I know is you know what it is though? It's it's actually helpful because I can't smoke it during the day at all. So like right now, I'm like pretty sober. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I smoke, but at the end of the day, it's like I'm not gonna smoke as much right now. Not at all. Not while I have this fucking shit in my house. You know what I mean? Like it's dangerous. Like I didn't have anything to do today. I was literally nothing to do except I have an article due, but it's not due till midweek. And then I have obviously chamber this week, so I'm gonna have to do prep for that stuff. But I had like nothing to do today. There should have been no reason that I didn't come on at like 11 a.m. or like 1 p.m. or at least 2 or at least like an hour ago. So that was the hangover from that shit. So yeah, whatever. But anyway, we're gonna talk about Clarissa Shields. We're gonna talk about whether or not she is the GOAT, whether or not she's even the GOAT right now, I think is the question to ask. Let me see. Don't forget, my nephew will be getting in the ring this Saturday against Quintana. He is on the undercard of Navarrete Nunez. Hell yeah, we'll definitely talk about that card for sure more in the week. Maybe we'll mention a little bit about it this week. But hell yeah, man, Cave, appreciate it. Listen, I'm gonna go take a piss real quick. I'll be back in like 2 minutes. I'm old, so it takes a while to pee. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, I got it done. Um, yo, I'm not gonna lie, y'all are gonna think I'm so gay, or not gay. You're gonna think I'm well, gay, I guess. I know, and this is like, I'm not, I shouldn't even say this because this is just gonna like further give credence to the idea that so many of you have that I'm liberal. I'm not. Progressive, sure, but very much conservative in terms of certain physical ways and things like that. I've said this many times. I believe that the answer to this country is a combination of both the capitalistic nature of conservatism as well as the social infrastructure from the Democrats and liberals, right? But I'll be honest, I saw two things this week, and damn, they're pushing me so far, bro. Like, here's the thing: MAGA lost me a long time ago. That shit's crazy. Like, that's fucking psycho shit. But like, I was like Dan Crenshaw. I would listen to a Dan Crenshaw. I don't fuck with him very much, but I would listen to a Dan Crenshaw. You know what I mean? I would hear him out. I always like what's his name from Cleveland, the dude that ended up that ran against Trump in the primaries. Fuck, I forget his name. He's like a real boring dude, you know. But it's like the most unexciting white guys are like the least problematic, right? Like God, what would you do for a Carter again? I wonder. You know, like what would you do right now for just to just implant Bush? Bush is probably one of the biggest criminals in presidential history. Him and his vice president. Hopefully one day somebody smart, like 100 years from now, will be like, hey guys, look, we found this in the history books, and these guys basically made themselves super filthy rich by getting Americans murdered for nothing, literally nothing. And then they like say, okay, well, we're going to indict them post-mortem, and we're going to put them in the hall of shit. And, you know, we're going to let conservatives think they were gay. In fact, we're going to plant stories of both of them, of pictures of them 69ing, and they're in the same files with like the aliens. So it's like you open this file and you see like a bunch of different species of fucking planetary beings. And then you see, you know, Bush and Cheney 69ing. Right? I imagine it looks a lot like Matt, have you ever seen the movie Baby Boy?
I have. Who hasn't seen that movie?
You know what sex scene I'm talking? You know what sex scene I'm thinking of then, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the footage I imagine is out there on those two. But anyway, Matt, appreciate you being in the building. The cam, the light looks good, champ. It looks good. Look, we got a lot of time, dude, and Raw is only 2 hours away, so I'm gonna have to burn through a lot of stuff. Glad to have you on. First and foremost, we're gonna talk about Sean Strickland a little bit too. That was the last one, as well as WrestleMania ticket sales. What did the Ryan Garcia Mario body fight look like to you? And what does Ryan Garcia mean to you today, right now? Both as a fan and both as somebody he just dropped off, but he'll be back on, I'm sure. And that's the question I want to ask y'all. That's the overwhelming art to this, right? Who does Ryan Garcia make sense with to face now? Because now we have a couple of things, right? A few things, really. We have a WBC title on him. That's huge. That's big. That's very impactful, right? The other thing we have is Ryan Garcia going the distance, right? Maintaining what's the word? Momentum, I guess. Keeping control, staying like making sure he's in control of the fight, right? And keeping that momentum. Listen, here's the thing. It's much easier to score that first round knockdown, believe it or not, than it is to continue that one-sided momentum in your favor for 11 rounds. So I would have way more bet that we would have had a what's the word? I would have, if they would have come to me and said, "Hey, what do you think is more likely to happen?" Two scenarios.
My bad, champ.
Ryan Garcia knocks down Mario Barrios in the first round, or Ryan Garcia goes 10, 11 straight strong rounds consistently and never lets Mario really back into the fight. I mean, he has some moments here and there, you know, slap into the body and stuff, but what do you think, Matt? What did we see on Saturday? What does Ryan Garcia represent right now in the infrastructure of prize fighting?
I mean, what we saw Saturday was just a total beatdown of Mario Barrios, bro. And the fact that they even found 2 rounds to friendly give to Mario in that
Very
fight,
well said.
it's insane.
That was crazy.
It was a different look from what we saw. We saw 12-0 of Shakur and Tio. This was a beatdown 12-0 with Mario and Ryan Garcia. Because the fact that he did not seem prepared, bro. I don't know what it was. Maybe he was just too fast and the power is there. And we haven't heard nothing. You're knocking on wood that Ryan Garcia is clean. And it's just, bro, this man came in. He didn't, I think, and not only that, you see, and like I was saying, how Sergio said that Mario Barrios doesn't have a championship year. And this isn't to take anything away from Mario Barrios. He is a solid fighter at the end of the day, 2-division champion, whether what belt you recognize or not. But it's got to say something if the fact that Ryan Garcia made this look so easy with the level of competition that Mario Barrios has been in there with, right? We especially when you look like, bro, I believe in the Tank fight he was up on the cards without going down, right? Before his knockdowns he was up.
You're
He
right.
went down to the body. Against Keith Thurman, he won some rounds. Ugas, he beat, he stopped.
We saw Mario start to do that, you know what I mean? And he just didn't have the answer of how to find moments, how to create moments. I mean, it really looked like a fight study on every way not to fight Ryan Garcia. Like if somebody said, "Hey, I need to know everything you want about you have on Ryan Garcia," that's one of the first tapes I'm putting in is Mario Barrios because it shows everything he's capable of to a degree, everything he does super well, and it also shows just how limited Mario is. You know what I mean? And so like the kind of fight you can't have against a Ryan Garcia. I mean, your head's straight, just no movement whatsoever, zero feints.
I thought he was gonna present more, at least, right?
Way more.
Like, I know Mario Barrios has he's got good power, bro. He's got a great 1-2. He doesn't keep his head off the line, like you said, but I figured he was gonna be able at least to back up Ryan at some point. And he did when he started throwing to the body, and Ryan just decided to take steps back. But he accepted defeat the minute he got knocked down because he wasn't listening to Joe Goosen. He wasn't listening to his original trainer. He was kind of just in there going through the motions and like I said, accepted his defeat. He knew that he wasn't going to be able to keep up with Ryan. Even in the exchanges, Ryan was just too fast, bro. And even if he hurt his hand, that right hand was thumping Barrios. Just an all-around performance. Now, in terms of what this means for the world of professional boxing, he's a legit commodity now. He's a legit star. Arguably on his way to becoming what he was perceived to be and promised to be as a face of boxing, right? A true one of the faces. That world title win, as long as it goes untainted, right, is going to be one of the best things that ever happened to Ryan. Because now look what happened. The Shakur Stevenson fight is being rumored. Devin Haney, he went from not wanting anything to do with Ryan Garcia to last night posting about the rematch. And to me, that is one of the biggest fights in all of boxing. Shakur Stevenson, big fight. Broly Romero rematch, big fight. Conor Ben fight, big fight. Ryan Garcia went from being the best B-side to one of the big players in the sport, in the welterweight division especially. Because when you look back at his career, bro, that's all he was going to be at this point. If he lost, permanent big-time B-side. Because all his big fights, that's what he was. Tank Davis fight, B-side. Devin Haney fight, B-side. It's only people under him that were going to take over that. You know, Rolly Romero was what he was, but when Rolly beats Ryan, bro, you switch places. That's all it is there. But now he's a player, bro. That belt makes him one of the big guys in the sport.
No, you're absolutely right. It definitely does. And listen, shout out to 702 Man Cave. He says, Barrios had a great ring walk, and he did. So much of what I love about fighters, Mario Barrios represents, right? Mario Barrios is, in so many ways, like one of the good guys in boxing. And that's such a weird way to put it because that's not the way things work. But listen, I think that guy could probably run for fucking, state senate one day or something, or mayor of San Antonio. But anyway, listen, I want to ask you, you said that the Shakur Stevenson fight, shout out to Justin Owen in the chat, Matt's co-host. Listen, you had said the big fight is Shakur, and I think you're right. I think that because boxing has been so thirsty for the narrative that oftentimes leads to huge monetary box office successes, is the Hispanic versus the black fighter, the black American and the Mexican, or American with Hispanic roots, that kind of narrative. And not only is that narrative monetarily valuable, but then you add to it the style contrasts and what that means to the narrative, right? And overall, like, listen, the history of boxing, at least since I've been watching, is that black fighters, specifically American black fighters, are the slick fighters. Mexican fighters are the come forward, say, take two to give one type of guys. And that's like absolutely not the case, right? Like all fighters aren't the same. There's a version of what I said that's truth, and then there's a version of what I said that's like racist, right? And then there's like those people that are like racist against Mexicans in the fight game that'll just like say, oh, they're just like stupid come forward fighters. Absolutely not true. You have the Marquezes of the world and plenty of other fighters. Canelo, Ryan Garcia represents something much different than a lot of those guys, but the narrative is still there. We've seen him have big knockouts. We've seen him have back and forth fights. We've seen him knock down, get back up, stop. Like, so those exciting things, even this weekend's fight wasn't super exciting, and yet
wasn't a lot of build on it.
It felt like it, right? It felt like it in that moment. It felt like we were witnessing like some sort of history to a degree. And you think about it, and it was like, oh, this was just like a give me WBC welterweight title fight. But I do agree, Shakur is the fight. If you could handpick anyone, right? Because you agree Shakur wins that fight, right?
Yeah, I think Shakur would win. It would be hard, but I think he would win that fight.
Agreed. Let me ask you this though. Is there a fight out there for Ryan? Okay, this is two questions. Is there a fight out there for Ryan, in your opinion only? Okay, forget all the casuals that often are retarded, and forget all the media who's a lot of times just biased and paid for. Who is that fight that you'd want to see Ryan Garcia with that would quench your appetite for boxing? Not the commercial Shakur stuff. Who is that?
The answer to that question, especially because like this fight that I'm going to say checks all the boxes because that's what it did the first time. The answer is the Devin Haney rematch. Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney checks every box that it needs to check for the sport of boxing. It brings in the casual fans, the hardcore fans like it. It's two of the best in a weight class once again, and this time it would be a unification. And don't get me wrong, Ryan and Shakur, it's a good fight. It's a great fight. Ryan and Devin Haney is a big fight, a massive fight, one of the biggest money fights that could be made. Because when you look at the sport of boxing right now, Mario, we don't have the next fight, right? Once we got past Canelo and Crawford, what was the fight that we were looking forward to? What were the two guys that we were like, oh man, I really, really want to see these guys fight? It's not really presented itself yet. And with what happened, especially with Ryan Garcia getting caught up with the PED situation, but given his performance and what happened in that fight anyway, it has to be that fight, bro. This is Bad Blood 2, unfinished business. This, like I said, it checks every box. Commercial success, casual success, hardcore success, unification, moves the sport forward, arguably creates the new face of boxing, bro. So to me, Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia 2 is the fight that needs. If I was to say next to take over the summer, that fight needs to be next.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on a lot of your points there. Here's what I will say though, right? Is he ready for that? Right? Is he ready for that? And I ask that because, God damn, this thing sucks. I asked that because look, what we saw on Saturday, to be fair, was Ryan Garcia beat a guy who probably was never good enough to be welterweight champion. Maybe, maybe pick up one belt at some point, but he was never ever
That's
top
hard to say.
5 in the division.
He the
I
top
don't think.
guy.
Not
He the
really.
top guy.
Here's the thing. Yes,
He the
yeah,
former world
absolutely.
champion.
I don't know how much of that was the exposure of his opponent at the time, and how much of that was credence to Mario Barrios. Like, the point I'm trying to make, I think, is like,
I mean,
you can argue, and this is I love Mario. I love him. I've met him when he was a fucking amateur. I've interviewed this kid. I mean, he was like 4 inches taller than me by the time he was
he's
16.
tall.
Okay.
He's tall.
At the end of the day, all I'm saying is that he is PBC's most manufactured guy. I think Mexican, at least.
I mean, that's
I
tough.
think that's
I
easy.
get it. I get that. What you're saying is he was created by them. But I've asked this question and I can't get a real answer on it. Mario is, especially if you're the PBC, right? And you see Mario Barrios. I'm not gonna say he's an underserving, but let's say he's the lowest to second to lowest hanging fruit in terms of champions in the welterweight division. Why wouldn't you have him fight Rolly Romero in a unification to keep both of those belts on your side of the street, let's say? Because to me, that doesn't make sense. Like, I understand you could take the Caleb Plant route still and just have Rolly take these pushovers and defend his mandatory, and he'll have the last belt at the end of the day. But if you knew Mario was a risk, and now, like I said, I'm going to give him credit, even though he was on the slippery slope to very lackluster performances that got you draws. And one of the fights you for sure lost. To me, I thought he beat Manny. I've edged it against Manny, but a very lackluster performance still. If you're the PBC, why wouldn't you have him? Hey, let's unify with Rolly, and that's another card for them. Mario Barrios is still headline pay-per-views. Rolly Romero has headline pay-per-views for the PBC. Why didn't they go that route?
All right, you ready? You ready? Because I have the answer.
Tell me.
I'm so glad you asked it. I'm gonna be honest. I'm a little offended. You didn't come to me first. That's okay. That's all right. Hold on. I'm just removing and re-adding Instagram because there are pains in the asses. Look, this is what I'm gonna say, right? At the end of the day, all I know is that you're right. You're right. It is not traditional for a promoter to go out of their way to, let's say, god damn this, to not unify the belts.
Right.
It's also like not normal in the Ukraine and Russia parts in the war to like not have food, right? Like, traditionally speaking, over the last like 20 years, they've been able to get kind of like almost any food they want, right?
Right.
But in wartime, things change. And that, Matt, is the answer. The reason why this fight happened instead of the Rolly is because they are in wartime. Now, this might be a Cold War right now, but believe me, it's heating up. I've done this as many times as I think I can. I'm really feel done with this, but I'm just going to do it one more time because this is the only way to answer this question. On the day that WBC announced that Arthur Beterbiev wasn't going to fight, they weren't going to have the Bibble fight, and Turkey was making all these, moves and announcements, thinking they were going to get the, David Benavidez fight. A fracture happened in boxing. Okay, very similar to the way that Hulk went and grabbed all of the fucking Thanos jewels and then bedazzled himself, and then Cap forgot to fucking take one of them back like a douche. So the timeline splintered. So when that timeline splintered, boxing changed probably forever. And you don't feel it right now, but there is a war. And that war has now gotten Terrence Crawford involved, Shakur Stevenson involved, Teofimo, Ryan Garcia, Oscar De La Hoya, Matchroom, Eddie Hearn. Zuffa signed Connor Benn this past week, something that you and I haven't yet really spoken about. I mean, other than in chat and stuff.
Notable.
And you know as well as I do how big of a hit that was. It is very rare in this sport to have a homegrown UK guy with ties that extend to fathers and lineages, and to just say, fuck all of that. I'm taking the bag at Zuffa, the place that nobody knows if it's going to be around in a year, but they're giving out money like it's fucking Turkey in
Doing what everybody
2018
does. That's
or 20.
I think
Exactly. And
Eddie
so
Hearn
the
said it the best. He forgot it was boxing. He
he
thought
forgot it was
Conor
boxing.
Bennett was going to be loyal. Like, no, bro.
Exactly. And guess what? That is just one of many,
Yeah,
many big moments that
but
are to come. Listen, it's not that I'm surprised at you, not at all, but
yeah,
I am surprised that you're not making the correlation that I thought you would have made
but
right away.
but
And
here's
that's
the
the
thing,
Monday
though,
Night
Mario.
Wars. That's
In terms
Hogan. That's
in terms
Mach.
of
You
war,
know
right?
what's coming, Matt. You know what's coming, and it is going to get dirty. We're going to see things that we've never
Yeah,
seen before, and that's a
but
good thing for us.
but
That's why they made this
the
fight this
war,
weekend,
though, right?
because Rolly and Mario Barrios sells fucking nothing. Nothing. In San Antonio, it sells nothing. But Ryan Garcia, I don't know what those
Well,
numbers
here's
are, but
the
I'm
thing,
pretty sure
though.
we're gonna
But
get
in
them.
terms of a chess move, right? Because it's like war. We're thinking about war. We're thinking about proper moves. Wouldn't you? You obviously know they're holding on to Rolly because he's going to be the last piece. Wouldn't you want that last negotiating piece to be a unified champion? Because I'm pretty sure you would agree with me that Rolly probably beats Mario Barrios. That's probably an easy fight for him as well. Rolly has improved himself,
No,
but just
I don't. I don't know that.
as a chess
I
move,
don't know that.
let's hold on to 2 belts instead of holding on to the one because we know they're gonna have to come our way. They're gonna have to because
No,
they've already had
I'm not gonna
Rolly.
let you get away
They've
with
already
that.
had
Rolly's
Rolly say
not
no.
chat.
They've already had
Chat.
Rolly
Y'all
say
think
no
Rolly
to Haney.
is roll? Go ahead. What'd you say? My bad.
I said they've already had Rolly say no to Haney to making any other fights with the ring, and they're just they tried to
Yeah,
fight
they're
Pacquiao. They tried to fight
listen to me.
Pacquiao.
Listen to me. They want to cash that kid out so quick. All right. They are trying to cash this kid out like it is December 2025 and he's Jake Paul. And they're just trying to find anybody. At the end of the day, Rolly is a cash out fight. The moment that fight was over, it was a cash out fight. Okay. This kid does draw, but not in the way that boxing needs him to,
Well, I'm
right?
not saying that he's a
He's
draw.
not the kind of fighter that you pay $100 to watch. He's the
But
kind of fighter that you stay and wait for the last 30 seconds of his IG live.
right, but
All I'm saying is that they knew Mario Barrios, Ryan Garcia was much bigger, and I think that you're right. They knew that they could get to a point where a Rolly Ryan Garcia 2 match means
I'm not even saying
much more than it did the first time.
I'm not even
2
saying
belts
that.
on the line.
Let's just hypothetically, similar to the Canelo and Caleb Plant situation. Caleb Plant turned down the Canelo fight 3 times because he knew I would get the biggest bag if I hold on to this belt. Eventually, Canelo is going to come and he's going to have to give me an offer that's going to benefit me, whether I win or lose. If you're the PBC, you know somebody like Shakur, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, they were gonna go after that Crocker belt if you unify because that to me is the lowest hanging fruit. Now, if their intentions were to undispute and it's somebody like a Devin Haney or Shakur come knocking with a turkey a la Sheik bag once again, like they gave Rolly already, they would have to give him an extraordinary amount of money to make that fight. And now like, we all know that the PBC is going to get their cut. That's for sure because they have to sign off on all these fights. That's what's holding up Virgil and Boots with Golden Boy. So to me, that's
Look,
why I said eventually they're going to have to come knocking. Why wouldn't you want to hold on to 2 of those belts? I understand if you're going to sacrifice one of them, sacrifice the guy that can't talk. If there's one thing for sure, whether you don't like Rolly's fighting style or not, and I'm not saying he's the ultimate A side, but he could talk and promote a fight. That's for sure. That is definitely for sure that you can't say he could promote and get attention. He helped get a lot of attention on that Pitbull fight. He talked his way into a Tank fight, and he stole headlines when he beat Ryan Garcia.
yeah. Listen, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. Not at all. Um, it's just that I don't think that right now they are in the business of, and I mean PBC, I mean Golden Boy, I mean Top Rank, I mean Matchroom, I mean literally everyone but Zuffa is in the realm or in the thinking of what are we doing next month? You know, it used to be what are we doing next year?
Yeah.
When you're doing well, Matt, that's the answer. I don't know how many people know this, but that's the answer, right? Because they asked Dana White right before Zuffa 1 came out, right before the Paramount deal first started, right? We were going to get the first UFC numbered UFC,
Yep.
and we were also getting the first Zuffa card, very close to each other. He went on, I think it was Bloomberg, but I might be wrong. It might have been somebody else, but he went on some finance show, and they asked him the question of what's to come this year. He's promised a lot of big things, and he said, "Oh, this year's done. We're on to next year. We're figuring out what we're doing. Mid-year 2027. That's what we're doing. That's where we're at, and that's the way Golden Boy used to think. That's the way Top Rank used to think. That's the way Matchroom probably still tries to think." But ultimately, they are where they are today. And where they are today is both PBC and Golden Boy feeling like, holy shit, we're not in the life raft. We need to start getting some pieces of boards, or we're going to end up like Leo and the fucking chick that stole the diamond. That may or may not be a whore. I don't know. I shouldn't have said that. That's so fucked up. I should have said that. I shouldn't have said that.
Sorry, who cares?
Women have the ability to make their own decisions, and that was the case in the 1920s? When did the fucking Titanic go down?
Somewhere around
29, 20, something like that, right? Yeah, my bad. I shouldn't have said that. I mean, I'll be honest, she did fuck 2 guys on the boat, but whatever. All I'm saying is that we are in unprecedented times. The oligarchs, and that is the right word for them, at the top of the boxing realm, they controlled, manipulated, and overlooked all sorts of bullshit that they did, that each other did. And it's not like a thing where they're even really hypocrites. They all kind of admit that, this is a shit system that they all take advantage of. The thing is that when you are being driven to your back against the wall, right? Like, let's say a new soda came out that all the fucking Gen Zs are just like fucking pouring it down their butts. They butt chug. That's why I made that joke. Did that sound weird? I felt like that sounded weird when I said that. I meant it because they butt chug.
It got across.
Okay, cool. Because, I just want to make sure that, people know that their kids are butt chugging out there. If you might want to have a talk with them.
We've all seen Jackass too.
Yeah. Or the movie with John Cena, where he his little girl to lose her virginity. That's a really funny movie. Actually, you know what I saw this weekend that's really funny? It's called Joyride. It's not the movie with the fucking candy cane and pink champagne. Did I sound like him?
A little bit.
Like him? Right? Candy cane. Bye birdie. I practice that a lot. So it's not that movie. It's a movie with Asians. It's on Netflix. It's fucking hilarious. It's like Jackass. I mean, not Jackass. It's like The Hangover, right? Like four friends, just causing hell in a city, but it's just like female and Japanese. But it's like, oh no, they're Chinese. They're Chinese and Korean. But it's really funny and it's racist, but it's okay because they're the ones doing it, So it's great. You can laugh. Anyway, I just feel like when you are in a situation where there's a new soda and Pepsi and Coke have been the kings of the sport, I'm not going to be surprised when Pepsi and Coke come out with their fucking, tag team shit, trying to get rid of the other people. Like, yo, we are not splitting this pie with another person. And it's sure as hell not going to be the guy getting the bigger fucking pie and us splitting the smaller pie. Fuck that. We're going to join teams. Because remember, we heard De La Hoya said they were going to do a Golden Boy versus PBC 5-on-5. And I used to think the reason it didn't happen was because PBC was going to start working with Zuffa or Matchroom or Top Rank. The truth is, I don't think Golden Boy has 5 fighters to put against PBC right now.
You don't think Golden Boy doesn't have PBC doesn't have fucking 5 to sell a pay-per-view?
PBC, I think PBC could at least buy 5 fighters. I don't think they're broke. I don't think they're broke.
Who could they call on? There's no Spence. There's no
Spence.
Charlo.
Why not? Why not Spence?
Spence has been gone for 3 years.
He's still a name. He's still a name.
He's gonna come back,
bro. You ain't telling me.
Bro,
who does Golden Boy have that's even that scary to him?
Okay, let me get you.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who's with them either.
Is who he's gonna be scared of. He told his fans in the boxing world, "I'll come back when I'm ready." They announced Tim Tszyu the other day, and he's walking through Vegas saying, "I'm not fucking going to Australia." He's gonna fucking load up the 5-on-5 in Saudi. Like I said, there's no chance. Spence
Oh
not gonna
shit.
do it. The Charlos ain't gonna do it. Spence isn't gonna do it. You could have probably had Fundora and Zoo. They lost Deontay Wilder. They don't have any other
This
fucking
is
heavyweight.
man, this is let me tell you, bro. Let me tell
They
you,
could
champ.
the
This is
best
why
they
they
could have
should pay
done
us,
was
bro.
send
We could have
Benavidez,
saved
and I
that.
don't see anybody else teaming up with him. That's it.
I agree. I agree. No, I agree. But what I'm saying is like
Golden Boys got
I
5.
could have made it work.
They
I could
got
make it
5.
work, bro. I could
Golden
make it
Boys
work.
got 5.
Who are Golden Boy's 5 fighters? Tell me right now. And if you say Ryan Garcia, I'm
That
gonna laugh so hard.
he's the headliner. He's the
Matt,
headliner. They could
Matt,
have
Matt, real quick. Are you even sure Ryan Garcia is gonna be fighting for Golden Boy in his next fight?
and they
Me
it's
neither.
all
Me
they seem
neither.
like it's
Me
all
neither.
fucking lovey
Me
dovey and
neither.
roses.
Hey,
I think so.
bro.
They me neither.
Tell
I
La
he
Hoya
knows
this
this
weekend.
season. Where else
Listen to
is
me.
he gonna go?
Listen to me. Okay,
Where
I'm
else
gonna real
is he
quick.
gonna go?
Give me. Okay, I'm gonna answer that. Listen, I'm
And
gonna tell
before
you a
you
real
answer
quick
that,
story.
do you think he'll let him go after Virgil goes? That's gonna be his only
No,
star.
see, that's where you're wrong. You can't control that situation. So there's no this isn't Oscar De La Hoya saying, okay, my name is Vincent McMahon and I am in 1997 and I can either hold on to Bret Hart, who I've been pushing as my Hulk Hogan for the last several years, but you know, the business isn't great, or I can start to rely on like super dirty, filthy storylines and me being like a big horny guy who secretly names dildos after his wrestlers that he actually hangs out with in real life. So I can be these people, right? Which one am I going to do? That's a choice. But when it's like, oh, I can't hang on to Verge even if I did want to pay him all that money. I can't hang on to Ryan even if I did have all this money to pay him. That to me is a much different problem. You know what I'm saying?
It's I get it, bro, because and I think it's like right before that, bro. Ryan is his Hulk Hogan. It is a little before in the timeline where you're at. He knows Ryan is
If
Hulk
he
Hogan,
wasn't before, he is today.
and he knows I can't fucking lose Hulk Hogan because none of these other guys are ready. Ryan Garcia, like I said, Golden Boy has 5 fighters, right? He could have said let's say at that time last year, he could have sent Ryan, he could have sent Virgil, he could have sent Amari Jones, he could have sent Gabriela Fundora if they were making a women's fight. He could have sent anybody over there against the fight against Matchroom. She was one of the best women fighters of last year. Line those guys up. It's hard to say, but like I said, he knows. I don't think Ryan Garcia is going anywhere because where else is he going to go other than the ring? There's nowhere else he could go. Ryan Garcia doesn't have his own promotional company. Ryan Garcia, I'm pretty sure his management is going to be somebody within Golden Boy. If he is to leave, he would leave with them. He would take them with him. It doesn't. He works under Lupe, right? And that's who's making his fights. Where else is Ryan Garcia going to go?
So, I think there's a lot of places he can go. I'll be honest, because I think you're thinking of this too much with all of the experience you have in the boxing world, because you're thinking of this like it's like a kind of problem. Like you're imagining the problem that he's having right now with Ryan Garcia, Verge, Canelo. You're imagining that problem in the 2012 era or 14 or 18 or whatever.
Right now,
All for now, because the problem is this, or the difference is this. Today, Zuffa will sign a 1-fight deal that fucks them completely. You see, Oscar is used to the world of boxing that he grew up in, right? And in that era, despite the fact that he made a lot of great business moves, like giving Shane Mosley, a piece of the company and B-Hop a piece of the company when they fought, he ultimately made HBO give Golden Boy a bunch of dates and used his own fight as bait for it. Very similar to what he's doing to Virgil Ortiz and Boots. This isn't a situation where he doesn't want the fight to happen. This isn't a situation where he's trying to have Verge duck because he wants to keep milking him. This is a situation where he needs his piece of the pie. He needs to secure a future for Golden Boy. For Verge, this is the biggest moment of his life, biggest opportunity of his life. For Golden Boy, this is just another fucking gross ass business.
Ortiz, though, isn't the one laying the golden eggs, Mario.
Say that again.
He's not the one. Virgil Ortiz is not the one laying the fucking golden eggs, halfway selling out the Dickies Arena. Ryan Garcia is a global superstar.
Yeah. No. I agree.
That's what I'm saying.
What
He's
I'm
not
saying is,
no. You're
you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it validates your point more that Ryan Garcia is the Hulk Hogan of Golden Boy right now. He is the Golden Boy. He is the Hulk Hogan to Oscar De La Hoya's Eric Bischoff. You're right. Verge and the current situation makes it even more true, makes it even more stable, because at the end of the day, Ryan can sign a one-fight deal the way that Connor did, or the way that what's his name did. They don't all have to be Jai Alpataya, who says he's going to be the unified, undisputed world champion, and now he's fighting for the Zuffa Cruiserweight title, which is basically a participation trophy.
I know we're going to talk about it, but that's going to create a fucking problem over there at TKO. It's in the UFC.
I think you're right. 100%.
You got to imagine every UFC champion that's headlined a pay-per-view for sure has to look at this Conor Benn deal and be like, what the fuck is this, bro? We've been in this company. This guy just signed a one-fight deal from $10 to $15 million, and he's probably not going to come back. You have money for this guy, but we can't get no more bread, and we're not even selling pay-per-views no more. He's going to be on the less viewed show and get more money. Not only that, who is Conor Benn going to fight? Who do they have over there for him to fight and bring in views? He'll bring in UK views, but who's going to make somebody like me and you tune in to see who Conor Benn's going to fight? Especially if he's going to fight in April. That's 60 days, 30 days from now.
But that's what I'm saying. It's still a move that has him up, because at the end of the day, one of two things is going to happen. One, they're going to book him a real commercial fight that isn't really going to test him.
I get that, but what I was
and then he's going to come out, and then he's going to come out of the contract and be a free agent. This is like if they signed, this is like if they signed Patrick Mahomes to a franchise deal, to a franchise contract deal, and then somehow he wins the Super Bowl and he can be a free agent the next year, somehow being a contract year. That is like the most leverage you can give a professional athlete today. In boxing, it's different because we don't have seasons and playoffs and things like that. So fighters have to make their moves when they can. And in that way, I respect what Conor Benn did. That. The loyalty shit to me is, you know what I mean? Like, Eddie's not my friend, but I think it's still a fucked up move.
Just like in the NFL, Zuffa doesn't have Patrick Mahomes' money. They don't have Ryan Garcia. If they give Conor Benn, if they gave Conor Benn $15 million, are they going to give Ryan 40? Ryan Garcia is a proven commodity and now a world champion.
Let me tell you right now. When I left the Boxing Voice in 2014, that was the second time I left. When I left the Boxing Voice in 2014, nobody knows this. I got a junior editing job at a very, very big Texas online publication that, for people that are from Texas, they'll probably be able to know who that is, especially when you've heard my politics in the past. And let me tell you, bro, let me tell you what that life did. That life showed me for real, that this is all just bullshit. This is all just publicity and public accounting. But what I saw in terms of the amount of money that the Saudis spent on other sports, like on other things, essentially trying to rebrand themselves, after horrific accounts of human rights violations. You know what I'm saying? So I know that the public domain on this is not a strong one. At the end of the day, Saudi has as much money, I think, as they want. Honestly, I think Turkey could make any fight in the world. They have a bottomless pit of money, the way that Red Robin has a bottomless pit of fries. Tell me I'm wrong. Give me one thing you've seen that suggests the other.
It's not Saudi money in Zuffa, though. This is a percentage of a percentage that they already have.
You're being purposely naive. And I know that they're the same. I know the connection. You probably know it better than most people that are actually covering boxing.
Ryan Garcia money. That's the question.
No, you're being purposely obtuse.
You know that money.
You know that. You're being purposely obtuse because you know better than anybody that they're the same thing right now. I mean, maybe they're not going to be. Maybe the marriage will end in a very bad break. Okay,
Drop
let's
copy
go.
that.
We got.
All right,
we got,
I'm gonna referee
we got
this
the
first.
Booker G here. We got the
Hold on,
Booker G here.
Hold on, I'm gonna referee this first because I think Matt needs to say his points first because y'all guys were talking over each other. Matt, go ahead, man. I'm gonna referee this thing
just
first.
my point of this, right? And I get what he's saying. They got this backing, the Saudi money, right? But the fact that Zuffa, not Saudi, if Saudi wanted him, he would have Conor Ben would have been at the ring fighting for them. He would have been making those independent fights like independent fighters do, like the Devin Haney's and the Canelo Alvarez's of the world. If Ryan Garcia were to leave Golden Boy, Zuffa's not spending Ryan Garcia money because if they give a guy, and I get it, he's living off the name of his dad, but that's all he has accomplished. Ryan Garcia is a proven commodity in boxing. If they gave Conor Ben 15 million, they're gonna have to give Ryan Garcia 30 million fucking dollars, and they're not gonna spend that money for one fight. That's what I'm saying, for just one fight, right? Because that's 30 million. What are you gonna do with the rest of the card? And are you really gonna put a 4 or 5 fight card together on Paramount Plus where your biggest name is Ryan Garcia and maybe what, Julian Rodriguez on the undercard? That's about it. Who else are you gonna have?
All right, my turn.
Go ahead, Mario.
My argument is this: Matt's right. Matt is absolutely right in 2018. Matt is absolutely right in 2012. Matt's point holds water from 2020 to 2023. The problem is this is wartime, Abe. We are living in wartime, okay? And maybe it's a Cold War, that's fine. But the lines are split. The divisions are clear. Okay, I'm not saying that they're purposely going after Golden Boy or Oscar De La Hoya. What I'm saying is they are going after boxing. And because Golden Boy, De La Hoya, everybody else involved in there, and Top Rank 2, Matchroom, include them all, because they all represent the other from what Zuffa represents, they are on the oppositions. They're the ops. And so all I'm saying is that Zuffa is TKO. TKO is Rider season. Rider season is the ring. The ring is Turkey. And all I know is these guys have so much money. And there are two moves that exist right now. On the Zuffa side, pay as much as you can to get the fights, kind of what like HBO and Al Heyman did together, and then Showtime and Al Heyman did together, so that we can build this thing up. That's why they're giving Fury AJ the money, and because they want Zuffa Boxing's brand to be associated with championship fights with big names. That way they can attract all the younger guys that will provide a future. Golden Boy, PBC, these people are desperate to keep the lights on. So will try to nickel and dime everyone else, just like they did. That seems to do what they're doing with Verge.
What do you think, Matt? Go ahead.
Now, my rebuttal to that, and I understand what he was saying, and this isn't 2018, 2012, but you're talking about guys who in the MMA world, they didn't offer top dollar for the people that they wanted. They absorbed the competition. There's no competition to absorb here. Do you think Ryan Garcia specifically, do you think he's going to come in for a flat rate? No sponsorships. You can't make no deals. You can't make no commercials. You have to just come in, wear the Zuffa gray and black, and
for a single fight, yes. For a single fight, yes. I think he'll take it back for a single fight.
If Ryan Garcia gets an opportunity to promote his brand, which is the biggest thing and the greatest thing he does, he's a brand, bro. That's what I'm saying. Ryan Garcia is the brand. Canelo Alvarez is the brand. Conor Ben is not a brand. Conor Ben is somebody's son that the UK knows. How many people, like I said, how many people you think are going to tune in for Conor Ben's debut in May? Not a lot. There's bigger fight. Like I said, who's he going to fight? Who is Conor Ben going to fight? If you spend $40 million, $30 million, $20 million on a Ryan Garcia, who are you going to pay for him to fight?
Now I will say this, Matt, just from what I heard, the sponsorship thing is they can't wear it during fight week. It's not to say that they can't have sponsorship at all. So they could have sponsorship to where, they're promoting on their socials and everything else. They just can't be promoting it during fight week. And I think that's purposely so that the companies aren't gaining more than what they're paying for off of the backs of Paramount and Zuffa. Right. And I think that was the purpose of that.
Right. And I get that too. Like I said, they're trying to build their own. They're trying to make Zuffa just like with the UFC, trying to make Zuffa the brand. UFC is the brand. But in the boxing world, it's different because, like I said, these fighters are the brand. Ryan Garcia is the brand. Terrence Crawford is the brand. Floyd Mayweather is such a brand. Netflix just gave him a bunch of money to come back. So to me,
Now,
they're not gonna make. They're not gonna. Could they throw a bunch of money at somebody to get them in eventually? Sure, but I think the biggest name that they'll bring in is somebody that's already made a bunch of money that won't need that much money. They'll have the name, but they won't need the money. They threw Conor Ben the money because they knew Matchroom has that last right. They usually have the last right match offer, but he was free. There was nothing for them to match, and he, like like I was telling Mario, the fact that Eddie Hearn was surprised that there's no loyalty in boxing, that's his own stupid fault. He should have learned something from his dad. But I don't think there's high quality dollar going to go at the names they have now. I for sure think they're going to just keep farming in prospects and low level contenders to the point where they build their own star to where they'll eventually have a fight that you can't turn down and you'll have to come over here to make.
that's a great point. I would also add to that the 15 million, I don't know if that's right or not. I know that Chris Mannix said it was 8 figures.
It could be,
but
like I said, 10 to 15, somewhere in there. It has to be
yeah,
that.
yeah. I would probably, if I was a betting man, I would say it's 10 and not 15. And it's a one fight deal. If that's true, the biggest fight that they can do is with Ryan Garcia. Now, after the Garcia fight on Saturday, he said, "I'll see you later this year," on a tweet. Conor Ben did. So I know that Garcia was talking about Stevenson and all this. I don't see Garcia doing the catch weight at 144 with Stevenson. And if they do the folks from the UK were telling me that Ben needs that big dance partner. Zuffa wants to build out the meta apex, right? But you can't have events there if you're trying to build it out.
Yeah.
So that would be an
good call.
opportunity for them to take the show on the road, get Conor Ben and Ryan Garcia up in the UK, do a bunch of big numbers out there, and then figure it out when they get back.
That's another thing is I don't think Ryan would go there. That's my main thing. I don't think Ryan would go. Even for the money, I don't think Ryan would go. Ryan, like I said, he's his own commodity here. Ryan in Las Vegas, Ryan in LA, Ryan in New York.
You know what?
Let me just ask like this. All right, I want you to answer the question, but look, he's saying this, but this is what I think one of the disconnects is. It is $20 million worth as much as $10 million if the 20 comes with a 6-fight deal, but the 10 comes with a 1-fight deal? Isn't the 10 more valuable to a fighter that can get that fight done and then reestablish himself? It's like a contract year for a football player that just won the Super Bowl. Like, the world is your oyster. Conor Ben, if he comes out with a win, he will be in a position to basically write his own check. Isn't that worth more, Abe?
But also, we have to understand this. Although this was Ryan's last fight with Golden Boy as just a fighter, his next two, if I'm not mistaken, from what I heard, was as a co-promoter. So he would make co-promoter money and the fighter money for the next one. So
got bigger.
Now you're talking about it being worthwhile. Now, Ryan Garcia is a smart guy, and I have to, disagree with you, Matt. And I would say that he would go to the UK because it would expand his brand. And he's all about his brand. And I think that he would do it. They posted a picture with him and what is it? David Guetta, I think his name is. The DJ from the UK.
Yeah. And I think he owns the rap label that Ryan took a picture with that UK rapper. I don't really follow UK raps. I don't know, but I know all those people were flipped out when they saw Ryan and him together.
Yeah, but all that stuff is strategic, right? Just to kind of get the appetite, get people kind of talking in that side of the world about it.
Yo, Abe is so right. And I want to just add this one point. I do this thing, you and I, we all do this thing, right? So we all keep up with certain people, right? And so, like, even though I don't watch iShow Speed, I'm very aware of his movements. I'm very aware of what he does and how he moves, especially since the WWE connection came about. He went on this whole like tour of African countries, Japanese countries, Chinese, territories, Brazil, like everywhere. And before he did that, he used soccer as a means to connect with the UK and Spain and a lot of these countries that have big, soccer fandoms and teams. So that expanded his brand to a point. Kai Cenat had did that before him. Now this guy doesn't even stream anymore because he's making so many millions from other things. So all I'm saying is that you're right. There are levels to branding. There are levels to celebrity. And at some point in America, it's not that you can get so big, but it's that the only way to grow anymore is to expand where you're conducting your business. In this case, the fight game.
Yeah, and look, Matt, you were hitting on all the good points, and I think that with Zuffa, they're going to listen. I think they're going to treat this like NXT. When NXT was brought on, you know what I mean? Have all the young guns that they're gonna bring up, sprinkle some veterans on top, and then poof, in a couple years it'll be this brand of its own. I mean, they're doing it now, like Andy Ruiz is that's gonna likely happen here soon, the announcement, and then I've seen some rumors about Tyson Fury and Shakur Stevenson maybe going over there, but they're going over there. And this is where I have to lean towards Mario, is that they're going over there, but it's still kind of part of the whole Ring, Sella, TKO, Riyadh season mix up there. Like it's all gumboed in there. So they're just kind of like moving stuff around on a chessboard, but it's all the same chessboard.
Now, like I was thinking, I'm getting at to where I don't think it's a move right away for a named star like a Ryan Garcia to go. Maybe, like I said, in a few years, maybe. If Zuffa's around in a couple years, they for sure could have that. A Tyson Fury, I understand completely because Tyson Fury goes to the highest bidder anyway. Shakur Stevenson, I completely get that too because he's aligned with Bud Crawford. Bud Crawford was already boasting these guys up, and I was expecting a Shakur Stevenson to end up there anyway. Now, like I was saying, a Ryan Garcia, the ring can make an event for me on the zone right now that would, to me, generate more money than a Conor Ben fight in the UK. And like I was telling Mario earlier, that's the rematch with Devin Haney. That's one of the
100%.
biggest fights in boxing right now. He could make that next, and that's bigger than any fight that he could make in the welterweight or 140, 154 division around him. That's just that's
very right.
That's the green print. That's that's the African American taking on the Mexican. Two guys who already have a history, and it's bad blood, unfinished business. And it's the generation of fans they attract are already super invested because what we all know is what happened with Ryan Garcia. The findings, it taints the victory, but they don't see that. They see what they saw on tape, and they're gonna want to see it again.
Yeah, I agree.
I think everybody wants to see that again.
I definitely do. Now I don't know how long I'll be able to have y'all, so I want to just ask this because we got to pay the bills, and this clip went massively viral, or not massively viral, but for a channel as small as mine, it went very viral. So I got to follow up with another clip. So I want to get both of your thoughts. Abe, I want to start with you, and I'd love if you had anything juicy for us. Abe is our resident. Abe is our resident squealer around here. He's our resident informant. So, Abe, the George fight last night on the undercard of Clarissa Shields, where Atif Olberton, who's now 15-0, from Detroit, was given prime position here on Clarissa Shields' rematch with Cruz Dezern. Now, unfortunately and very scarily, the fight ended in a very abrupt and scary way as Joseph George, who was 13-1 heading into this fight, seemed to suffer some sort of headbutt or something. Went to go to sit at his stool. He was fine. He was standing. Everything was good. Sat on the stool for a few seconds and then completely killed over. And not only did he kill over, but he was like out. Like, we don't know what happened. And a lot of people were speculating that it was a knockout or I forget what they call it, but it's like a pain muscle tablet. You know, it reacts later, right? A delayed reaction, I think is how they called it. But Abe, what did you think of it? And do you have anything, or at least suspect that there may be something that happens that changes the ruling?
No. You know what
Oh,
I did,
wow.
what I didn't like, I did not like that the corner was very like slow on the
Slow
reaction.
to the jump. A lot of people commented on that.
I didn't like that at all, man. I was like, bro, the minute somebody falls like that from the stool, like you should be signaling. I mean, like the reaction isn't what the reaction with the guy was. He was just kind of like slow there, and he was just looking at him like almost like, "Are you okay?" Dude
Yeah,
just
like,
fucking
what did he
slumped
think he was?
over. Like,
Dude, I don't
what
want
the
to
fuck?
laugh. I
Yeah,
don't at
it
all,
should
but
be
it's
like
like,
an immediate. This fight is over. We're out of here.
yeah,
Yeah, like grab the fucking doctor, like get your ass in here. None of that. He was just kind of
none of
like,
that. The
you know,
opponent looked more concerned than the corner did when he realized he went straight over there.
yeah, nah. I just, you know, honestly, like I don't really care about any of the details outside of the situation and making sure that he's good,
Yes.
and but he needs to also be evaluated to see if he should even be fighting again.
Yeah,
Word. Very much. Very
absolutely.
true.
Check that man's
Matt.
brain. Check that man's brain. Big time.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I listen, I'll be honest. I don't expect like a huge, career for either guy. But that's not the point. The point is when I watch boxing, I expect it to be fair. I expect it to be, especially at that level. And I just don't think there was anything fair about that decision. Like, it was clearly a headbutt. Nothing landed even remotely close to Dan Magine. And so for me, I feel like it's always a black eye when we have those moments, right? Like, I don't think this will get a lot of attention, but I try to. I'll take y'all back to Jabe when what was his name, stepped out of the ring and left. That was an embarrassment. Everybody in every sport that doesn't watch boxing, they saw it and they laughed. And that's my fear for the White House fight with the UFC. I love MMA. I don't want to see one of the worst things that could happen in the sport happen, in front of CNN. But anyway, I want to ask y'all real quick about the Clarissa Shields DAZN fight. Did you get to see the card? And what did you think about the hip hop boxing mashup? So many people seemed so upset about it. Even people that I know that are like avid hip hop fans that would be like, I don't want to shit on hip hop, so I'm just gonna be like, that was whack. They were like, hip hop has no business in this, like blah blah blah. Matt, what did you think first and foremost?
I mean, to me, it wasn't hip hop. It was more love and hip hop vibe to it. Like the way, bro, like especially
That's the clip right there.
That's the clip right there, Chad.
especially because like when they were killing for time after what happened, right? You bring in two show producers that nobody knows that promoting their network and they're promoting Clarissa show, and they're talking about how what they're doing with Papoose and Clarissa is going to be a thing. I'm like, okay, that tells me what happened on Saturday with the shoving and the fighting. That was the work.
Yes.
They did this on purpose.
Oh,
And,
shit.
you want as much eyeballs. If you're going to promote a show, you want as many eyeballs as you possibly can, because people are going to want to see the behind the scenes of what happened. And to me, yeah, like I said, it was like, not even to be funny, like for real, like it was more love and hip hop than it was hip hop. Because to me, hip hop and boxing go hand in hand anyway. Just to me, it was just too Kardashian for me. I'll say it that way.
Yo,
I mean,
thank you for that clip. Abe, what'd you
and
think?
Fran Sean has said it Saturday morning, or I should say, I'm sorry, Saturday afternoon or maybe it might have been Sunday morning. She said that she had found out that the push was part of an angle they were working for a reality show, and that she was unaware of the situation, and she felt disrespected and everything. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking she probably felt like, well, if they were doing that for that, why haven't I been cut in on the check for the show? Because I'm a character in the show. So she's probably more upset about that than anything else. Like,
Bro,
you guys are using me and I'm not even getting a check out of it.
I would be
Yo.
too, bro. If I was Franchon, I would have, and I found that out, I would have smooth pulled out the fight. Like my ankle's fucked. I can't even stand on it. You got to pay
Yeah.
to wait
Bro,
in.
that's nasty work, and I'll be what listen, okay, so, like, a few years ago, I found this thing, it's called Great Courses, it's an app, it's kind of expensive, it's like 19 or 29.99 a month, but it's really great because it gives you college level courses. So for the last, like, month, I've been doing contract law. People hate me now because I just keep, I try to talk about it as, like, everything I talk about because it's, like, always in my mind because I'm trying to, like, figure it out, but anyway, I guarantee you, from what I've been learning, I guarantee you they had her sign something about being able to use her image, being able to use her likeness, you know what I mean? At least in that one episode, at least for that span of filming. Like, hey, you're signing a contract to be filmed and to have us use your likeness because that allows them to not have to pay her for the show because what they were going to say is no, that's part of the fight. That's the pre-fight buildup, and then that's the post-fight buildup, like Tank and Barrios and Tank and Thurman and Ryan and all these other post-fights that we had. When in reality, it's actually for a show that's a completely different, thing, and she should be credited and paid for her work. But yeah, it's a shame too. And Abe, let me ask you this real quick. I didn't get into it. I shout out to the brothers out there doing great stuff in their podcast, but we did have a bit of a debate with the Adams Boxing Show. Again, shout out to them. All love, all respect. But they challenged whether or not Clarissa's the GOAT or not, based on the fact that they felt like she was levels above Franchon and didn't get the stoppage. I understand that reasoning. I do. I just don't think that you can have that kind of determination based on a small sample size, specifically of just one fight where we don't know if she was nursing an injury, was she sick? Like, it's not to excuse anything. It's just to say that you can't use that one data point to come up with something that important. But what did you think of her performance? Do you think that at this moment she exists as the best female fighter on the planet? Yes or no?
So I would say that it's a little difficult to try to really define this because the inventory in women's boxing just isn't there. Right? That's and the higher level inventory is down at the lower weight classes.
Yeah.
These are all facts, right? So Clarissa fighting in where she's been fighting at, she hasn't really beat like the upper echelon folks because they don't really exist. Savannah Marshall was probably her biggest fight or her biggest accomplishment, right?
Yep.
I just, I get, she's got the amateur pedigree and everything else. I just don't know if greatest woman fighter of all time. I just don't. I have to. I guess when her career is over, then maybe we could look at it like that. But I mean, she's beating what's available.
Well said. Well said, dude.
And
does that push you? Yeah. Good.
Well,
damn.
is what's available the best out there? No, not in those weight classes. Maybe if they figure out a way to get Michaela Mayer in there, but even then, you're asking Michaela Mayer to go up to. She said that she wouldn't go past 160. I think that would be the max. You're asking Michaela Mayer to go up again in a weight class. Remember, she started off as a featherweight. So you asking her to go up to 160 to fight Clarissa Shields, who walks around probably close to 200 pounds. Like that's a hard ask. You know what I mean? And so,
real.
But that's the only way she can actually get like some really credible wins. Nobody really expected Franchon to beat her yesterday. I mean, Clarissa was a minus 4,000 favorite.
Yikes. I didn't even know it got that high.
Yeah, like nobody expected her to win. So I mean, Franchon. So it was all on Clarissa to box her way. Now, granted, when it comes to skills, athleticism, and all that, is anybody close to Clarissa? Maybe not. She's probably the best at that.
Well said.
But there just hasn't been anybody in where she has been competing at that would say, "Oh, okay, she's gonna have a tough time beating this girl." I just haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. So it's hard to say you're the best at something if the competition isn't at the same level as you.
Matt, what is the monetary, like, what's the biggest money fight? Or I'm not the biggest money fight. I'm sorry. What is a bigger money fight for Clarissa Shields specifically? Is it the Ali route? Should she continue to try to goad her into a fight, or can they find a way to blow up a smaller weight fighter? What do you think? What do you see realistically?
In terms of monetization, the Layla Ali fight is huge. It's massive. Look at the reaction you got from Ronda and Gina Carano. That's going to be massive. The attention that got was huge. Now, I agree with Abe when he said that the competition is just not there for her at the higher weights. The competition is just not there. Obviously, like, look, she called out Shadasia Green, but Shadasia's at 168. Michaela Mayer's has to be 160. Remember, there was talks of her and Baumgartner, and she'd have to make welterweight for that. She'd have to go all the way down, and that's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Now, I think at the end of the day, at the end of the road for Clarissa Shields, this would have been a smart chess move because she allowed these other girls to fight. That way she can go back down. And at the same time, she's built up a big enough brand, especially in the city of Detroit. Well, look, you look around, she sold 18,000 tickets. She sold all.
They loved her.
They
loved her. I love that for her, dude. I did.
She had that moment last night where she walked out and was like, I did it. I've come to this point. I am a star in women's boxing. And she did it without a Jake Paul. She did it without a major promoter.
Yo, that hit.
She can go back down and make these fights where it's going to bite her in the ass at the end of the day is how far down she goes. She should not go past 168. And if she can flirt with 162 for a Mayer fight, because I've seen Michaela Mayer in person. She's a big girl for the small weight she started at, but she's a big girl, very skilled. But yeah, it's hard, and to call her the GOAT, and at the end of the day, it'll be a fair conversation to have to call her the greatest woman fighter, because even if you're looking at a Layla Ali, Layla didn't have that much of competition at her era anyway. There wasn't that many women fighting, notable women fighting. Now, obviously, people are going to point at, let's say, Katie Taylor, that would be the best woman fighter of all time, and her resume and her accolades back her up fully. But if we're just looking at what a great fighter is, when you look at the skill of Clarissa Shields, it's hard to talk her down from that position. I mean,
word. Listen, we have more boxing to talk about, but I while we have Abe, I gotta switch this.
I actually.
Oh, you gotta go.
Damn, I gotta go
because that's all right. We'll get you on the
Zoom in like 2 minutes.
Hey,
all good. We'll get you on the chamber talk this week
because I've been following your Twitter. What is the end of the road? What is the end of the rainbow for Floyd Mayweather and this 3-fight deal? Have you? Because I've seen you sniffing around the Floyd and Manny talk. What is the end of the rainbow? And you've been pointing stuff out. I've been watching. You got the tea leaves. What's the end of the rainbow for Floyd? Is it a Bud Crawford fight on Netflix?
Yeah, so I didn't see the 3-fight deal. I don't think that was on the press release. That was 3-fight deal. I might have to look at it again.
FightsATW.com.
Yeah. But you know what? Would you be surprised if they did a Mayweather Tank fight at some point?
No. I think that's one of the options that's coming, because Floyd said himself that it's an exhibition and a 3-fight deal. If Manny's first, the big, difficult money challenge is at the end.
Yeah.
And I can see Tank being in the middle, but I think the toughest fight for the most money is at the end. And I think that's a Bud Crawford fight.
Could very well be. But it'd have to be. Oof. I think that it would also depend on how he looks in September.
Very well said.
If he looks really good in September, then maybe they just go straight to the Bud Crawford fight next after that in May of 27. And that would be, Crawford a year, some change, retired, and maybe look at that check a little differently.
Oh
So,
yeah. Hey, appreciate you on, man. We'll get you on the EC Chamber Talk this week.
All right, man. All right, guys.
Shout out, all love for fights, atw.com. Yo, you're the champ, dog. I really appreciate.
I've been keeping up with Abe, bro. Abe sneaky with his shit, and he knows. He just don't like to say nothing.
No, you're right, dude. And I made jokes last year about Abe having a source in the WWE creative room. That's always been a joke, but I'll be honest, there is somebody. I know it is. And here's the thing. I respect him. He's a real journalist, right? If I had it, I wouldn't give it to him either. He's my boss. I wouldn't give it to him.
That he has,
I would never betray a source. Never. What'd you say? I'm sorry, I missed it.
I said, just say that he's got Bruce Pritchard on the email chain. Just
yeah, for sure. It's got it, bro.
Blink twice if it's Bruce, Mario.
Hey, I know who it ain't. I know it ain't Kevin Owens, no matter how much Matt Riddle bitches. I knew you like that one. Hey, real quick, you know what? We were gonna talk about wrestling, but since Abe went, I'll just save it real quick because I gotta know your Pacquiao Mayweather decision. Before you talk though, let me just line it out for anybody who's missed it. You're under the rock today. That's okay. You can always come here Monday through Thursday in Fighting FX. You can go to Matt's channel on YouTube and Twitch talking about sports radio. Just hit the search in Fighting FX. You got to put the at before, and we're live Monday through Thursday, like I said, and on the big fights on Saturday, Sunday, and Friday. That said, the news broke over the weekend. Really, last week was more. Because the official news broke over the weekend, but this story has been developing for months and really hit, some wind under its sails as of maybe the last couple of weeks, right? We had heard rumors last year that a fight with Mike Tyson was imminent with Floyd Mayweather Jr. Then we heard rumors that a Manny Pacquiao fight was going to go forward instead. A lot of different things were said and done. There were reports that Manny Pacquiao had given offers to Juan Manuel Marquez. I'm forgetting the other people. I know Juan Ma was one of them, and I want to say maybe Maidana was another. I don't remember, but either way, they all turned it down. Provodnikov was the guy that ended up taking it. And so we get the word that Mike Tyson Floyd is definitely happening. It is happening, and it's going to be on Netflix. Then in Africa, by the way, all I know is if they don't have a dope ass tagline for the event, they can eat a dick. They can eat it. Here's the thing. If you don't have a badass tagline for that fight, hit me up. We'll brainstorm it for free. I swear to God, I'll come up with something good, but I'm not going to put my brain power towards it. Right. If y'all don't know, I used to rap. You don't believe me? Then come on and I'll fuck you up. But at the end of the day, all I'm saying is that I could come up with something really good. And if I can come up with something really good, then people that get paid to do it should come up with something really good. Shout out to Talking About Radio. As I said right there in the chat, if you're on YouTube, if you're you go to the chat, if you're on IG, X, TikTok, any of the other channels that we're on, Twitch, go to the chat and boom, there it is. Champ just put it on there. So anyway, the Floyd Mayweather and Mike Tyson gets announced. Then this weekend, Provodnikov Pacquiao gets announced. The one thing that
it was Lomachenko. He was the other option.
Lomachenko. He was. Thank you, damn champ. And I knew it was one that I really liked, but it was
Marquez, Loma, and Provodnikov. That's because Loma was the early talk of the first exhibition, but then there was going to be another fight. It was said for that for both.
I thought there were 3 people that turned it down. Was there not?
I think if you count Rolly, but Rolly was going to be a fight, an actual fight.
Rolly, that's the other one. My brother said it was Maidana, and I forgot. That's not true.
The plan for both was an exhibition, and then they were going to fight. Pretty much, we're going to get exhibitions to get in shape, and then you're going to do our best to get on Netflix, which to me, Mario, is I was talking to my brother Supermax about this. The biggest missed news that nobody's looking at right now is the fact that the king of pay-per-view in boxing is not going to be on pay-per-view. If this doesn't tell the world that pay-per-view is dead, I don't know what else is going to do it. The fact that Floyd Money Mayweather is not on pay-per-view, he will go to Netflix. and it's going to make a fuckload of money, excuse my language, because they're going to do it in the Sphere. The highest dollar ticket you could sell in any arena. The Sphere on Netflix is going to it's going to generate third world economy wealth, bro. That shit is going to be phenomenal. The fact that this was the plan, and this is why I asked Abe, because I think Abe is going to sniff it out now that I've put it in his brain, hopefully. And I want to ask
I
you.
think he's already sniffing it out. To be honest with you,
I want to ask you this too.
he said he's the one who had said Floyd was going to come back. Say it again.
What is the end of the rainbow to Floyd Mayweather? Could you think there's if Netflix is involved in a 3-fight deal, especially even Turkey Al-Sheikh, is he quite possibly selling his putting it on the line in a tough fight? Because I can see Manning, I can see Tank in between, but the last fight is going to be the toughest. Because I'm not saying that Floyd is broke, but I'm saying Floyd needs to make some money.
I think Floyd is broke.
Money,
not broke like we could be broke like the way that a billionaire could be broke. Like he has no transactional cash. He's rich in assets, he's rich in stocks, that kind of shit.
His figures probably changed from 10 to 8 figure, maybe. Who knows?
But his spending never changed.
Yes. And so that's why I'm saying the big bag is gonna come. It happened to Jake Paul. Jake Paul eventually had to get in there with AJ, and he got a lot of money to take that risk. What do you think is at the end of this rainbow? Could it be a Bud Crawford? Is Tank Davis enough of a dangerous threat to be that last fight or that next fight? What do you think is at the end of this rainbow for Floyd?
So, very good question, first of all. Second of all, this conversation would not here's the thing. If I was better at my job, I would have first of all asked the question you asked to Abe, because he's been all over that shit. And he's been right about all of it.
Mm-hmm.
But mine is like pure speculation, right? Like all I can do is use the data and the information that I have to make an educated guess. So I'm going to lay out what I see. Number one, what I've seen over the last several years is indications that Floyd Mayweather does not have the kind of financial security that he once had. Videos of him trying to stiff jewelers, videos of him, trying to get out of paying, retail price. And those aren't like crazy, like, financially broke, but tax evasion rumors, tax penalties, all those things were true before he ever retired. Okay. Fast forward post-career, and we have a rumored yet documented incident, because we got to see the flight logs, that Floyd was in a way kind of kidnapped. He flew to a country, I can't remember which one. And
it was Dubai. He got stuck in Dubai.
I think he borrowed money, right? Or something like that. Gambled
something along the lines of he didn't want to pay something.
He didn't want to pay something. And so I don't know, High Empress, I don't even know what to call those people, but the royalty of the place basically said, you're not going anywhere. They took away his passport. They did not let him fly out of the country until he paid his bill. And that's a huge, huge thing. In fact, if you have watched some documentaries like on Netflix and Hulu, when you see these like millionaires that live this life of like Palm Beach one weekend and the Bahamas the next weekend, and they go to these like private resort islands and stuff, you always see that when one of these people is broke and they tell the story, the first crack was not paying a bill in a foreign land, right? Because in America, you can use your celebrity to get away with a lot of shit. In those other countries, if you try that and fuck up, you could go to jail. So it's like one of those situations where why would he have, if he is so rich, why would he complain? Like, that's like saying, I'm not paying for this $5 Whataburger. It was slightly like, no, come on, you're a millionaire. That said, the latest thing was, okay, well, the other thing real quick was Floyd getting chased off from a place in the jewelry section of a foreign country.
The biggest tell, though, was the lawsuit against Showtime and Espinoza for $300 million.
Well said.
Why did he wait? Because Floyd retired in like 2016, 2017, right?
Yep.
Why are you waiting 10 years and all of a sudden you're crunching the numbers? You're like, oh, hold on. There's some money missing here. And if it's true that he settled with Al Heyman, then And maybe he is missing that money got misplaced somewhere. Somebody has it. And Floyd Mayweather obviously needs the other half of that money because he's made money in his career. And like you said, whether it was real spending or just brand spending, Floyd Mayweather is the name is money. All these private jets, all these watches, all these fancy clothes, big houses, bro. That's money, which is why I brought up. And a light bulb went off in my head. I think I can push back Gervonta Davis as the last fight. Because in between, I can see the rematch, another rematch coming behind Pacquiao with Conor McGregor. That fight was
dude, come on. You just went into full blown wrestling mode.
Hold on.
So you know.
Conor McGregor can come back to the UFC right now, and he would be the biggest draw in that company. Yes or no?
Say it again.
Conor McGregor could come back to UFC main event and would be the biggest draw in that company right now.
Yeah, sure.
If Netflix is paying for one-offs such as Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano, which there's not going to be a follow-up. Ronda's not going to get another fight. Gina's not going to get another fight. They would they would give the money to get Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather in the boxing ring again. Absolutely.
Okay, let me push back a little bit real quick on that. I don't think you're wrong, probably, right? The only reason I'm pushing back is because I think it's an important thing to be said that makes it not 100% likely or even 90% likely. So Gina Carano represented a problematic brand, okay, in the mid 2010s. After her fight career washed up, her acting career was not as fruitful as she thought it was. She wasn't, casted as well as she thought she was until Star Wars hit. And once that mainstream popularity came, she chose that moment to just rip trans and gays like apart. And listen, you're an American. You have every right to your feelings and discussion, but it's like, like let's say like a midget Syrian or like a little person Syrian, like fucked my wife and stole all my money. Like I wouldn't start being like, oh my God, every midget Syrian is the worst human being on the, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially if I'm doing this shit. So anyway, whatever. She was a problematic Disney fucking candor. It was better because they got Sasha Banks and she's way better. Then she kind of just went out of the picture, right? She got to do Joe Rogan and then literally nothing. And then she was put in a bunch of like conservative type movies. Anyway, today she's going to be fighting on Netflix because she hasn't been problematic in a very long time. And everybody knows that in social media, the media cycle lasts so much shorter than it ever did in previous years. So she knows she could do that. Conor McGregor's a different type of problematic, right? Forget the potential. I don't know if he said racial stuff or not, but let's just throw it in there. Fucking, if you consider him racist or homophobic or whatever the fuck, let's say you consider him any of those things. None of those things are more problematic for Netflix and or the promoter that promotes him as his cocaine usages, his alcohol usage, whatever other drugs he's clearly been taking. He has been the most unstable version of himself. Now, instability was his brand, Matt, right? But at least he could control it. It was only then when it was, he knocks out some old dude who says the scotch tastes like piss or whatever the fuck he said, just like one moronic thing after another. And now he exists as someone that, Matt, would you go to Polymarket and if, like, let's say I put a gun to your head and I said, you got to bet $1,000 one way or the other. Would you take on Polymarket, Conor McGregor even making it to the fight, making weight?
I would put that if it's
I wouldn't.
If it's for $100 million against Floyd Mayweather, fuck yeah, he's making it to that fight.
Without incident,
no, because
Mario, there was almost
I get what you're saying, Mario. Hey, hold on, I get what you're saying, but they were going to put on a fight with Gervonta Davis, who was also problematic in his own right. they were still going to put his fight on with another problematic guy in Jake Paul. Now, like I said, it's to me, it's an option. Just as an option. I understand he's a problematic guy, but in terms of who's going to put more asses in a seat, and if you're going to make that money back, who's going to put more asses in the seat, Mario? Other than Conor McGregor.
You're really asking me?
Other than Conor McGregor that Floyd Mayweather would take in between.
Yeah,
and that's saying if the toughest fight is the third fight on this deal that he says he has with his promoter, would he not take McGregor in between after Pacquiao?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Here's why. The money won't be the same. There's no way. There's no way the money would be the same.
I mean,
especially here's the thing. Inflation, if you factored that in, it would be even less. I think. Maybe I'm wrong. I might be wrong, but I think I'm right. But anyway, the point I'm making is this, right? First of all, how much more valuable is anyone else to Conor McGregor, given the fact that the likelihood of Conor not making it to the fight for any reason is higher with him than other people, right? The other thing is this too. Floyd is very much like Donald Trump. And I'm not like hating on politics wise, but like Donald Trump is a guy who like his ego has to be satisfied. I mean, a lot of people are like that, right? And Floyd is very much like that. He has an ego and he has to be right about things, right? That's why he went off on Carmel Moulton's post-fight shit, looked like a moron, you know, all that shit that he's done that looks so self-centered and so self-serving that I think there's no part of him that wants his undefeated record broken. And he is a smart enough fighter to know that fighting Pacquiao and Conor back to back puts him in a better situation to lose than it does to win, right? It's less of a chance he wins if Conor McGregor is his last fight. Here's the thing. If I'm a fighter and I'm one of the best fighters in the world and I care about my undefeated record, I do not want to walk into a fight with Bud Crawford, Shakur, hell, Earl Spence, Canelo 2, anybody without having fought someone for real. Not the guy that fucking literally went life and death with Mario Barrios, the guy that Ryan Garcia knocked down in the first round.
The guy who fought McGregor and Andre Berto in his last two fights. How much, if there's anybody on Floyd Mayweather's resume as a professional, those two, the least possible chance, no matter what the odds set on McGregor, because
he was fighting, Matt. He was fighting. These are two different completely situations.
He made sure that he was able to tie and beat that 50-0 record. That's what he was, and he chose the two easiest fights in the world. And Conor McGregor,
absolutely. That's how much he cares about that record. You're right.
Conor McGregor is not a hard fight for Floyd Mayweather, a second time especially. I'm just saying, in terms of if Netflix is going to pay for somebody, they would pay for Conor McGregor. If they're paying for Mike Tyson, who's problematic, they would pay for Conor McGregor, in my opinion. And
you cut out for a second, but what I thought I heard you say is that if they would pay for Mike Tyson, who's been extremely problematic over his career, then they'll pay for Conor McGregor. My response real quick to that is that Tyson hasn't been that guy in years. Tyson is like a fucking hippie today. Okay. He's a guy who, you know, is against violence, against wars, cries. I saw this guy pick up Hezbollah and cradle him like a baby and tickle and kiss him. Now, to be fair, he told Andre Ward he had no fucking clue that guy was the kid. He was a baby. Or he thought he was a baby. But at the end of the day, that's the era he's in.
They put their chip on a demented old man whose brain stopped working.
No, champ, stop, champ. You just said it. You know, and this is what I don't like.
That's a problem.
You're good at debating, and sometimes you want to be better at the debate than you do want to get to an answer. But that's okay. We'll do it like this. You just said it right now. You said it yourself. You laid it out. When you have a 3-fight contest, and you were 100% right about all this, when you have a 3-fight, contract, when you have a 3-fight contract with a promoter or a network, right? It is a very careful decision how you lay out those fights, right? Just like a coach getting his team ready for a baseball game, he's going to fill out that lineup in a manner that makes that maximizes success, right? So, and I don't follow this kind of strategy specifically, but I don't want to get, too inside baseball on this topic, but traditionally you'd have, a fast guy lead off because you want that guy to be, on the bases, right? You'd have a guy who's maybe not as strong of a hitter, but better contact guy in the second spot. So maybe he can bunt him over. Then you want one of, if not your best hitters at the 3-hole, a guy who's going to move the runner no matter what. And then in 4 and 5, you have 2 guys that are basically big hunks of meat that have the ability to drive the ball and have high power numbers. Now, I say that to say this. You laid it out perfectly. You literally were like, oh, yeah, he's got to have a fucking, easy tune-up, and then he's got to have a, more of a better fight so that he can get ready for the third and the biggest fight. You said that literally yourself just now. So subconsciously exactly why Mike Tyson was chosen, and the fact that he once represented this, thing or whatever, this bad guy. He's not that guy anymore. In fact, he represents something very, very different to a whole new age of fans. And the whole point of it is that he is a big name that they've already worked with and have already, signed contracts with and stuff like that. So it makes it easier to do business again. You already know what you're getting from him. You know what you're going to have to pay, all that stuff. You know what the numbers look like. And then you have him set up for Floyd, who has not had a fight against anybody who can even move in the ring in years. You have that be his first fight. It's a tune-up, it's an exhibition, it's a fucking sparring contest. And one last thing I'm going to say about this, Matt, you and I both know, and again, this is what's bullshit, is that you're just trying to beat me because you fought. That when 2 guys are good at boxing and have been at the level of a Mike Tyson and especially a Floyd Mayweather, they know how to work. Champ, if you and I were going to go into a fight at Border Wars and we said, bro, I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to hurt you either. Hey, well, let's just go in there and we're not setting up a fight. We're not saying, hey, we're going to script this. We're saying we're going to go out there, give the fans a show, but we're not going to try to hurt each other. We have that ability. We have the ability to hit each other with punches and not worry about whether he's going to wake up or not. I mean, we don't even have that power anyway, but I'm just saying, really anybody has that power if they know how to throw a punch. But all I'm saying is that it's a situation where Floyd and Mike is the most exhibition fight it can be. If Ali and what was it, Ioka, the wrestler?
Antonio
Inoki. If they represented one type of fight, and then like Bad Bunny and Damian Priest represent another fight, right? I think we're seeing like a merging of kind of those 2 ideas with Floyd and Mike, because they're going to go in that ring and they're going to give us a show without ever putting each other in any sort of danger. That's the truth. Okay. That fight is for them to make as much money as they can before Floyd goes off and actually tries again. Okay. And so they don't need Mike to be anything but a corpse that sits there stoned throughout all the fucking events. And then he comes out and says he's going to eat somebody's children so that they watch on Netflix and boost the ratings. That's as simple as I think it gets, Matt. And so, again, I know there is a difference right now, February 23rd, 2026, between Conor McGregor's brand and Mike Tyson's brand. Mike Tyson's brand is about smoking weed and microdosing and therapy and PTSD and saying no to violence. Conor McGregor's brand is cocaine and hookers.
And
all right, that's
in seats.
You're not lying about that. That's not a lie. And I appreciate the truth of that statement. I just don't think it represents the same thing it once does. And certainly not what it represented in the era of the first Floyd fight. But I do want to ask you this question, though. I want to ask the question that you asked me right back to you, because I believe all this is heading towards a Bud fight. Yeah. I believe all of this is heading towards a Crawford fight. Now, something happened in the middle of the Tyson Floyd, re-emerging talks and the Pacquiao Provodnikov announcement. And that was Floyd strategically leaking the idea that he was coming back. that set off a chain of very few, right? I thought boxing was going to pick this up way more, and it didn't. I think because a lot of people at the time didn't really believe what they were seeing or wanted to see more, especially after all the jukes that we've gotten from Floyd lately over the last year and a half. So they ask, oh, Floyd saying he's coming back to the pros. That's what he had leaked. And that talk sparked who could he face talk. And I saw names like Shakur Stevenson. I saw names like Canelo 2. I saw names like what's the name I saw? I saw a bunch of names. I mean, probably like 5 or 6 of the same top fighters in the world, right? 95% of the names that have been put out there are silly, right? Shakur Stevenson will never get that fight. I love Shakur. I think he's one of the best fighters on the planet. But he's not getting that fight. He's not getting that fight because he's young and good and talented, but not as big a star as a Ryan Garcia, a Floyd Mayweather, and Oscar De La Hoya, right? So I ask you this. Is it a letdown to you if Floyd's coming back, but he is doing the same thing he always did, picking and choosing opponents at a specific time, avoiding people in their prime? Or yeah, no, I'll just ask you that because I have another question. So, but it's separate.
No, because Floyd Mayweather's not coming back to be the champion of the world. He's not coming back to unify any belts. He's not coming back to be pound for pound, which is why I said Conor McGregor. Floyd Mayweather's coming back to put on events and make a lot of money. To probably the best guy to ever make calculated risks turn into a profit. I could for sure, and you brought up a name that I don't think would be an option, but it would make sense if it was an option. Like I said, Manny Pacquiao and Floyd, everybody loves to see it. There's people out there that thought Manny Pacquiao won the first fight. There's people that just really wanted to see this rematch. I mean, bro, look, they asked Floyd if he was going to rematch him after he beat him. It's never going to. That's a cycle that's never going to end. Now, I feel like the end of the road is a Bud Crawford fight because I don't think there's another fight that not only would pay Floyd Mayweather a lot of money, but get Terrence Crawford out of retirement to fight again, possibly next year. I could for sure see Crawford September of next year and Floyd Mayweather fighting somewhere huge, no matter where it is, live on Netflix for a whole lot of money. That's for damn sure. Now, another name, if it's not a Bud Crawford, where it's a young enough name that would give him a name enough risk that would make a lot of money, especially because Floyd Mayweather, I know the Pacquiao fight is at the Sphere, but Floyd Mayweather has taken his exhibition show on the road. I could see if the names didn't happen, if a Tank fight wasn't available, because I think that's the other big fight, I could see Floyd Mayweather choosing an Errol Spence Jr. to fight in Cowboy Stadium for 100,000 people.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how Earl looks because like I said, it's been 3 years. He hasn't come back. He's had 2 car accidents. He didn't look fantastic in the Bud fight. I could see that fight just because that fight would sell itself in a major stadium. That's a stadium fight. Terrence Bud Crawford and Floyd Mayweather is a stadium fight. You would have to sell that out at a stadium. I wouldn't just to answer your question again, I wouldn't be disappointed because Floyd Mayweather is coming back to put on events. He's not coming back to build his legacy. I've always been one to think that outside of what financial problems people want to present, I think Floyd Mayweather is afraid to be forgotten in the sport of boxing at the end of the day. I truly think he's afraid to be lost in the history books. That's my thought.
I think you're right. And it's something that, I know you know this because you watch all sports and you're super hardcore. When a guy who has like a lot of clout in his genre of something no longer gets that same level of appreciation and admiration, they get desperate and they do like desperate things, right? I'm not saying Floyd coming back is desperate. I'm saying it hint of desperation. Maybe even reeks of it. That said, I don't know how good he still is. I don't know how bad he wants to fight. It feels like, without knowing all the information, Floyd is struggling right now, or maybe not struggling financially, but not in as comfortable of a position as he once figured he'd be in at this stage of his life. And look, for all I know, maybe he did get ripped off, right? The problem is that that
It's possible.
ripping off was there for him to see. You know what I mean? Like, he lived this life of, I don't want to say luxury, but I mean, it was luxury, but it was more like overabundance, right? To the point that it absolutely is reasonable to believe that Floyd Mayweather is broke. And again, I don't mean broke like the way I can be broke, like literally have no money. I mean broke in the way that millionaires are broke.
To the
Meaning
point
he
where
doesn't
his
want to
lifestyle
sell
changed.
cars. Yeah, he could sell a bunch of shit right now and have money, millions, but he's hanging on to him. He wants the same amount of money that he used to get, and he wants to spend like the maniac he used to be. And now he realizes the only way to do that is to come back to the fight game. Look, I'm not trying to talk shit at
Here's
all.
the
This is
thing,
gonna
though,
feel like
Mario.
shit. Say it again.
Here's the thing, though, is it's possible he didn't see that in his deal, bro.
No,
Look
I
at
believe he
look at Mike
didn't. No,
Tyson.
I know he
Look
didn't.
at Mike Tyson in his deals. He
I
sold his
know.
name and he didn't realize it. Look
And
at
that's a little
look at the
different
music
too, because
industry.
Mike didn't have this years of fucking paperwork and inside industry talk.
Yeah.
Floyd, at the end of the day, thought he was special, more special than everyone else. And at the end of the
let me-
day, he was just a fighter like anyone else.
Let
And
me
they
throw this at the
treated
rap
him
game,
like that.
though, because you understand hip hop and rap. And look at the people that
Very
are
similar,
signed-
very
look at the
similar.
people that were signed to Cash Money. Those guys aren't making a lot of money because Cash Money
Fuck
is
no.
buying all the stuff for you, and they're taking that out of the money that
And they're
you
taking,
made.
and they can say it's worth anything.
I
Hey, we
could say-
catered all
I
your
could say the
fucking shit
same
with
thing-
with Wingstop. That shit cost $1 million. Like,
I
what?
could say the same thing happened to Floyd Mayweather with Showtime. That we're
Sure.
gonna pay you this, and we'll buy this for you, and we're gonna take that out of your bottom line. And could I see $300 million worth of shit that he did to
Fuck yeah,
fulfill his
bro.
lavish
He
lifestyle?
took a
Yes,
jet everywhere. Are
absolutely,
you
bro.
kidding?
Yes. So
He took a jet everywhere. That motherfucker was like
absolutely.
Ash Patel. And instead of spending, American tax dollars going to your wife's shitty concert, you had us over here paying for your fucking life of luxury and shit. And it's
Yeah.
like, that's fine. You gave us the fights. I knew what I was getting. I gave you the money. I'm not trying to ask for it back. But at the end of the day, we also got snowed, right? Or not we, me and you, but like the casual fans, they got snowed. Like, oh, you trying to sue Al Heyman, or not Al Heyman specifically, but he did have a problem with Al and alleged in the
Settled with
lawsuit
Al.
that Al helped.
That was reported. He settled with Al. That,
Yeah,
to
he
me,
settled
that's
with
the
Al.
biggest red
Exactly.
flag. If he tried to sue Al Heyman, who was his guy, and they settled, there might be some truth to this.
That gives as much credence to the idea that he is millionaire broke than anything else in the world. Again, I'm not saying that I don't want to see Floyd come back. What I'm saying is I only want to see Floyd as a pro if he is still a level as a pro. He doesn't have to be the same version he was. He could be, 80% of that guy, 75% of that guy, because 75% of Floyd Mayweather is still as good, if not better, than the vast majority of fighters in any given era. So that said, what I do want to see is a Floyd that's hungry, ready to come back. It's hard for me to believe that anything in boxing would make him hungry other than the jealousy of seeing other people get talked about, right? I do think that Shakur talk bothers him. I think that the Canelo talk over the last decade bothered him. I think Roy Jones talking shit about him bothers him.
The Crawford talk especially is probably what bothered the shit out of him, because he's a narcissist at the end of the day. Floyd Mayweather is a big narcissist. Nothing is bigger than TBE. He's the best ever in his mind. He's made the most money. He's sold the most pay-per-views. He's fought the most champions. But he hasn't accomplished in the sport to a sense of what a Bud Crawford has done. And to where he beat one of your biggest wins easily. No matter what it was, no matter what you want to say about Canelo, he was injured, he was hurt, time had gone by. So many rounds in the bank, that doesn't matter. What Bud Crawford did, being a 3-way undisputed champion, made him one of the best pound-for-pound fighters of all time, and it made him the face of boxing. Now he retired and never took the ball any further than that. But the conversation started of who's better, Floyd or Crawford. Who would win that fight, Floyd or Crawford? whose legacy is cemented more, Floyd or Crawford? And I guarantee it eats Mayweather alive because, like I said, I think Floyd's biggest fear is being forgotten in the sport of boxing. He got his roses, and now he wants the attention still. I think that's the big problem. He wants to be seen and revered like Muhammad Ali was, like Mike Tyson was, like a Roy Jones was, or Oscar De La Hoya, Julio Cesar Chavez. It's hard to
Yeah,
do
no.
that
You're
because
absolutely right, dude.
he
I'm sorry, go
never
ahead.
he never built up his own core fan base the way those guys did. He sold the fights to the guys that didn't like him and wanted to see him lose. And I think that's what's eking at him because when those guys went away and they started to hate on the next guy, he realized that you're going to be forgotten. Look at Andre Ward. Andre Ward is around because Andre Ward presents himself on a podcast, calls fights. He doesn't go away from the sport. He's never going to come back to the ring, but Floyd Mayweather's not going to commentate or give his opinion on any fucking fight anywhere.
No,
And if you're going to be with Floyd, I mean, like he has Kamara Moulton, and Kamara Moulton hasn't been fucking seen on TV in 2 years.
And that's another big indicator that I think we missed. You said it earlier, and I wanted to give you your flowers, so I'm going to make sure I do that now. You mentioned Tank, and I think that there is a strong indication there that money was part of the bigger issue. And I think when you look at the patterns that are distinguishable, we've seen De La Hoya at one point a fighter fighting for the rights of fighters and fair treatment and fair payment and not being screwed over by people like Don King, who factually got, in trouble for screwing over fighters.
Yep.
And hiding money from the government. You can do all that, right? And still not have a full understanding of what happened between Floyd and Tank. That said, again, it's this idea that at some point you're in the fighter's shoes and you understand what the fighters need. Then at some point you're in the promoter's shoes and you understand what promoters want and need. So we've seen that with De La Hoya, and I think he has become a full-fledged promoter to the point where it's like decayed his fighter soul. But with Floyd, we really didn't understand like all of the, you know what I mean? He's been so busy. It's like, is he just bad at being a promoter because he's bad at doing one job? And this is a guy who can do like multiple things and should be constantly doing, you know what I mean? Or is it the fact that he wanted to do the same thing that was done to him? And so it all lends credence to the same idea you said. We saw Tank leave him. We saw everybody leave him, right? Mayweather. I don't even know if Mayweather promotion is still a thing.
Here's what's crazy about that,
and yet, real quick, and yet we never saw Floyd in a situation where he took any of this stuff serious, right? And so all this time has passed, like you said, and now he's just suing. That doesn't make any sense. My bad, brother. Go ahead.
I just wanted to bring up, because you brought up Mayweather as a promoter, but I think Mayweather is more important as like a leader, because yes, like these guys left, but Canelo left Oscar De La Hoya and remained a star. People leave Top Rank and remain a star, and their career trajectory stays the same. If you look at a Gervonta Davis and an Adrian Broner, right? Their career
is very, very good. Hey, I'm going to keep my headphones on. I'm going to fix something in the back. Just keep chopping it up, but I can hear you.
Yeah. If you look at a Gervonta Davis and a Adrian Broner, especially, those guys were under the Mayweather. They were under the Mayweather wing, right? And people were saying like their careers were being stifled. Granted, he built them into stars. Adrian Broner was a 4-division champion at the age of 26. Gervonta Tank Davis became one of the biggest names from 126 all the way to 140. But if they lose and they leave Mayweather, for some reason, those guys that get into that position with Floyd, they get off the rails. Look at Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner never took his own career seriously. He started begging for fights, and now he's stuck under the thumb of Don King. And look how he looked in his last fight. Blair Cobbs embarrassed him. Adrian Broner was on the pound for pound list 10 years ago. He was a pound for pound fighter. But he lost control of himself. He lost control of his vices and his money spending. And we're looking at the same thing with the Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis, since leaving Floyd Mayweather, even though he still has a Leonard Ellerbe around, since he left, Floyd Mayweather has gotten into trouble time and time again, whether it be the domestic violence level things, whether it be how he treats other people individually, violating his own paroles and probations, spending money on things where it looks insane what he's doing. Like I said, when a Canelo Alvarez left to Oscar De La Hoya, he remained a star and his career took a great trajectory and became an undisputed champion. Adrian
My bad,
Broner
yeah,
left
yeah.
Floyd Mayweather and he never recovered from that. Gervonta Davis left Floyd Mayweather and he's still
Never
a
recovered.
star, but his career
But he
trajectory has gone down. And people
Exactly. No. You're absolutely right, dude. People argue that Tank, and this is the only reason I ever pushed back against Tank fans, is because they were under the guys that Tank would simultaneously be, he would be the next Floyd, not because the styles were similar, but because he would simultaneously be the best fighter in the world as well as the biggest draw, right? And that's what Floyd existed as one point. In boxing, it's very rare that you see the pound for pound star be like a huge commercial star. That's just never really the case. I mean, you know, they'll try to do it, like they try to do it with De La Hoya. There is never a point, I believe, and I'm a huge De La Hoya fan. I think he's much better than most people give him credit for, but there has never been a time in this world of boxing, at least in this timeline that I lived in, that Oscar De La Hoya should have ever been considered number one pound for pound, especially over Roy Jones Jr. That said, though,
I agree.
that was all about money. Right? Let's call him this. Let's pay probably writers to say it or whatever, write about it. But ultimately, like, he was never that guy, right? Floyd, different, represents something different. Matt, this has been such a good conversation. I really don't even want to end it, but I really got to have this convo before WWE starts. And listen, if you want to rock out with us during Raw, you're more than welcome to. If you want to come back later, bro, all love. Anything you want to do. But I will probably stay. I'm gonna definitely stay live for Raw.
For sure.
I gotta ask you, the WrestleMania ticket sales continue to be a story. For those that aren't aware, WrestleMania 42, coming up in a few weeks, actually, is having a down period as compared to last year this time's ticket sales. So last report that I heard, they were like 14, possibly as much as 16% down from the year prior. Now, the reason this story has gotten more steam under it is because during the Valentine's Day weekend, which I think was last week, if I'm not mistaken, time is irrelevant when you smoke and pass kidney stones all the time. When you looked at it, they had this Valentine's Day weekend coupon. It was a huge thing. They posted it everywhere on their social medias. I believe it was 25% off every single level and every single price ticket, except for like the big package one, if I'm not mistaken. The reports have come back as to how many tickets were purchased in that time period. Matt, you want to give it a guess or no?
Since the deal?
No. In that period where they had the 25% ticket, the Valentine's Day coupon, which is something they've never done before, on Valentine's, I mean. Do you want to guess how many tickets were sold while the 25% coupon was valid?
Less than 1,000 is what I'm going to guess.
Well, you're right, because 0 is less than 1,000. 0 tickets were moved in that time. And so a lot of the talk, Matt, before I get your entire thoughts on this, because I really do, I'm not going to even ask you a question. I just open the floor to any valid aspects of this that you want to add to and where your overall feelings are. The idea at first was that they were pitching ideas for WrestleMania, and it was reported by WrestleVotes that they all brought people in from every department, right? Like, this was fucking, listen to me, TKO and Nick Khan had lost so much. This was the narrative. So much. They lost so much respect for Triple H. They called the custodians to come book Mania. Listen to me. Listen to me very carefully. They said, hey, accounting department, can you put the pause on the calculators for a second and come tell us what we should do with Rhea Ripley? They said, hey, marketing team, you've seen all the wrestlers' faces, probably, or at least hopefully know their names. Can you come in on a weekend for 4 hours and tell us how we should book the women's tag team division? This is fucking crazy. This is Goodwill Hunting. And Matt Damon, the janitor, is coming to the board so he can fix the equation that's coming on. What the fuck is going on? And I'm not saying that, custodians or people that work in advertising or any of those, I'm not saying they can't be creatives. Obviously, people in advertising are very creative. What I am saying is that the people in a company that get paid to be creative should be the guys that you're using, should be the guys that know what they're doing. And if they're not, they should be fired. If you have a custodian and every time you go into the bathroom on your floor in your hallway, there are giant turds in the toilet that haven't been flushed, you're going to be pissed off at the janitor and or the maintenance man, right? You're not going to just be like, oh, well, somebody took a shit, I'm just not going to clean it today. You know what? I expect, somebody, the toilet's a real mess. Can somebody call Molly from marketing to come clean up the toilet shit? Like, that's, what the fuck are we doing? Like, that was crazy alone when that story came out. The rumors were that they were unhappy with Triple H's booking. And then there was a narrative after that it's not fair that Triple H is getting all the blame because nobody even knew what WrestleMania was. Nobody knew what it looked like. It wasn't being booked. So how could you blame Triple H for a shitty card that is making people not want to buy tickets when nobody knew what the card was? So then now we have reached this point. And what this point is that admittedly the tickets are too high in price. Admittedly, WrestleMania creatively is not there. Admittedly, they are getting desperate enough to reach out to people that have not wrestled like Bad Bunny in the company in years and have zero storyline, zero heat with weeks left till Mania. All of that points to the credence and the idea that they are TKO, is very disappointed right now in the WWE ticket sales. Matt, what does this mean to you about where fans, both casual and hardcore, stand on the current product? Oh, that was the other thing. Real quick. There was a big story that nobody picked up on. I still am waiting for somebody to talk about this. I guess we'll be the first. Shout out to I forget his name. I'm going to get it because I'm not going to let this go without giving him the credit. But apparently there are a number of moments that have taken place in the last few weeks where the women's division was the topic of discussion and what was going to happen for Mania. And there are people that are like desperate to figure it out because some of the plans they'd come up with, they feel are like crazy, like could ruin the fucking division and where it's at right now. I don't know if those are, true statements or not, but all I know is right now there's nothing about the women's division that makes me excited for Mania. Literally nothing. Okay, Liv and Jade sounds cool. I don't think that's going to happen. So it's like, who gives a fuck, What do you think, man? Tell us.
So, Mario, if you recall, when I last spoke to you on my show, I asked you, is this a booking problem or is this the fans taking a stand? Since then, everything that's come out and all the results since then have told me that this is the fans taking a stand. Because let me take you back not even a month ago. The reaction to CM Punk and Roman Reigns was the reaction they wanted. The reaction to a Jacob Fatu possibly getting in there with the Drew McIntyre as champion. Drew McIntyre winning the championship, the reaction that they wanted. Liv Morgan winning the Royal Rumble, the reaction that they wanted. The price point is the problem. It's always going to be the problem. Not only did you... let me just start with the fact that you pivoted on WrestleMania after you announced where WrestleMania was going to be. Could they have sold out more tickets at the Superdome in New Orleans? Abso-fucking-lutely. Because the cheapest ticket is $600 for WrestleMania in Las Vegas. in Las Vegas per person. Now, not only take this into account, everybody that's watching right now, everybody that's going to listen in the future, that's $600 for one seat, one person, you alone, right? You would then have to travel to Las Vegas, stay in Las Vegas, and eat in Las Vegas. That shit is not cheap. And then you would have to get around Las Vegas. And nobody's going to walk from the Raiders Stadium to fucking wherever the fuck in Las Vegas. Even if you're just going to walk to the strip, that's still half a fucking mile walk to wherever else you're going to walk to.
Yep.
The fact that I said that this is the fans taking a stand is that it's true. I think they've only generated 30,000 for each night, and that's nothing.
Damn, that's
nothing,
bro. Nothing.
The price point is the problem. There's matches we want to see. Punk and Reigns, boom, we got it. It's to me, it's not a booking problem. It's the fact that you are pricing out the people that want to go see it. This WrestleMania is a high dollar thing because they're going to generate that money with the fans that are going to come. But the fact that you're trying to hit the same place twice and increase the price, no less, you're increasing from what you were last year. That's insane. People, Mario, like, it was thousands of dollars for us to go and sit in the nosebleeds, and when it went to
That's
Dallas,
crazy. That's fucking crazy, dude.
it's
That's so
thousands of
crazy.
dollars for me to go by myself now, and it's only been 4 years. The price point has increased. The fact it was a problem the minute that Ari Emanuel and Nick Khan said we are not looking to sell to families, and those are the people that are buying the tickets. Exactly, those are the people that are buying the tickets. Now, I'm gonna make my last point here before I get off on it. And again, shout out to everybody that's watching along over at Talking About Radio. Like I've always said before, when we do these collabs, make sure you go subscribe to Infighting FX. These guys over here, Mario Munguia, representing the sticky side of Texas down in that beach weather, baby.
Oh yeah.
Subscribe to these guys as he talks about everything from the fight game to the wrestling game. Remind you, I said that this is the fans taking a stand, and this is what confirms it. No tickets got moved, and they gave 25% off. That's the fact that they gave such a big discount, and not only that, 25% off only dropped it to $500 per ticket.
That's crazy.
One night.
That's crazy.
So Mario, if me and you want to go, that's $2,000 off the rip before taxes and fees. To me, this is the fans taking a stand because I want to see Punk and Roman Reigns. I want to see Fatu in one of the main events for the world title at WrestleMania on a big stage. I want to see what's going to happen, whether it's Liv and Jade or Liv and Rock or damn, I'm blanking on her name.
Stephanie
Vacour.
Oh, Stephanie Vacour. You might be.
I want to see the return of AJ Lee and Becky, which I think they should have saved it, but I see why they're taking it to Chicago. I want to see Finn Balor take on Dominic again for the IC title, especially if he brings back the Demon. But if you're going to price out people like us that are wanting to see the show to try to, I don't know what they're trying to do to their audience other than make them look rich, that they can afford to go to these things. That's
no.
And
that's the big part
for WWE to figure it out. If they can't see what's in front of them, they're never gonna figure it out, bro. And then what's worse is, like I said on my show last week, they're just gonna take the show on the road. They can take it to Saudi, they can take it to Wembley, they can take it to Australia.
Anytime.
They can take it to fucking Canada, and they'll pay for it.
No, anytime. No, I think you're absolutely right here. I think you have your finger on the pulse. I think that the ticket prices are probably the biggest factor, but I think that creative and the lack of the kind of creative that inspires during WrestleMania season. Inspired creative is missing. And I think that is a bigger factor today than it's been any of the years before. It's not that fans don't give a shit about creative. It's that WWE has never really missed the mark on what they're planning to do. Even if it doesn't work, they at least have a plan. They at least have an idea. This year, it felt like they literally never had an idea. Now, I know we heard rumors of Roman Cody. We heard rumors of Punk Cody. We had heard rumors of Braun and Punk. We heard rumors of Braun and Roman. We heard rumors of Seth and Roman. But none of those things, I mean, like all of those things were teased at one point. All of those things were, seemed like potential directions. And yet none of those ever had a path laid out for them. So that today, CM Punk and Roman Reigns, a main event that exists with so much, over a decade worth of history, was made after Roman Reigns won the Royal Rumble. Like, dude, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying that should have been part of the story, is that we want so badly for Roman to fight Punk, who is either not wanting to fight him or, says, fuck you, whatever, to the point that we need that match. So Roman has to win. There was nothing exciting about Roman winning. The only reason he got cheered is because of where they were. Okay. And so I feel like they knew they could go to Saudi. They knew that they could put Roman over and they would get every single casual in the fan, to fucking be horned up about it. And that's fine. But all I'm saying is that there was a story to tell, and you used the baseline narrative from Royal Rumble to WrestleMania to secure that match. And I'm saying that it didn't need that. They could have fought for a title. They could have fought for a grudge match. It could have been anything else. And you secure that Royal Rumble win for somebody who, probably deserves it. But I think your points are very valid. I do want to ask you real quick, just a small thing about the chamber this weekend. Because there was once upon a time where I thought you ruined WrestleMania for me. This was, I think, November, maybe December, and you said they're going to give Braun a title match after Punk wins it. This was right after Seth got injured, now that I think about it.
Yes.
And then you were like, they're going to give him the title match either at the end of the year on Saturday Night Main Events or on the Raw Netflix. Everything you said came to credence. And then you said he was going to lose. Braun Breaker was going to lose, and Punk would retain the title, only for Braun Breaker to go to Elimination Chamber in Chicago and win that match in front of Punk's hometown to set up a WrestleMania match. Every single thing, even the small aspects of that booking, you got right. Like, I think 100%, but let's just say 99. I was very, very scared from December to January that you ruined it. Like, you were not just right. It was clearly what was going on. Braun's hurt now. Obviously, that's not the case. A lot of momentum lost, but I love the fact that we don't really know where it's going, despite the fact that Abe continues to suggest they're going to somehow find a way for Jacob Fatu to get into the match with Cody, who's going to win the chamber, in his opinion, and face Drew McIntyre at Mania. I'm not so sure. Asking you, what would be the direction that you think would work best? And is there any scenario in the world that Trick Williams wins this weekend?
Whoo, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Okay, Javon Evans, absolutely not. But an absolutely not.
Williams,
who's been given a lot of time.
Trick Williams is a star. Don't get that wrong. He is a star, baby. He has it, like Dusty Rhodes is saying. You can't shake it and give it away if you could, but you have it, baby. Trick Williams is going to be a world champion.
Good Dusty, dude. I've never heard you do a Dusty before. That was pretty good.
I got good impressions on certain Southern drawled people. I can do like a good Dusty. I can do a good Jerry Jones. I can do a good Candy Cane from Joy Watch. Candy Cane. Yeah.
Any pink champagne. Candy Cane.
I agree with Abe though, and the fact that they're gonna find a way to get Jacob Fatu in here. The way I would want to do it is you have Jacob Fatu beat Drew at the Elimination Chamber and become the world champion. You could easily, even though
that's not gonna happen, right? That's not. They're not.
I know, but
it's too late.
I'm gonna throw two options out there that way they can't pivot because, like you said, it's no secret.
Too late.
It's no secret that everything I've said that was gonna happen, they've then started pivoting since those things started happening.
To be fair, because Breaker got hurt, I think you were right. I think you nailed it. I think Braun was definitely going to win.
There was a pivot before that, though. Before he got hurt,
was there?
Roman won the Rumble. They pivoted before that.
But can't you say that the reason he won it was because they knew Braun Breaker was going away? They didn't let him in the Rumble. They kept him out because of the injury. They didn't know it was going to take so long for him to be injured. But the doctors by then, I think, had already said you're done.
You could, but
makes sense. It's rational.
That doesn't fit my narrative, so I'm not gonna accept it. Now, like I said, I would want, because they could easily dabble into their rule book, right? If you're a former champion, you have 30 days to get a rematch, right? Simple. Jacob Fatu beats Drew for the belt. Cody Rhodes wins the Elimination Chamber. I want my rematch. I want it at Mania. Cody Rhodes still has his match at Mania. Triple threat. What I think is going to happen is Drew McIntyre is going to weasel himself into a disqualification. And then on SmackDown, they're going to order a triple threat match because Jacob Fatu doesn't get his. And by the way, talking about bad booking, who the fuck attacked Jacob Fatu? They still haven't revealed that shit. I mean, like, come on, who did that? Who did it? Somebody took him out for months. Remember? He was attacked in the back.
I literally forgot all about that.
Exactly. I don't forget this shit. Now, like I said,
can't believe I forgot that. That's such a big fucking, that's like Vince McMahon. Who killed Vince McMahon? I mean, not as big, but
I mean, there was a reason they forgot that shit because, no,
of course, but it was still a big pivot.
Things I don't. Triple H and Tony Khan are really bad about forgetting the shit they set up in the first place. Like, they put this bucket of water up here and forgot that shit was there and spilled it on themselves. Now, I think that's what's going to happen is Drew McIntyre is going to get disqualified, and eventually they're going to say, you know what, we're tired of it. It's triple threat. There's no DQ. Cody Rhodes, you're in. Jacob Fatu, you're in. You deserve a shot in a proper match. Boom, bap. You guys got these problems together. That match is going to happen. I also think, just a quick predictions before I hop off, Finn Balor is going to get fucked over by the Judgment Day, and he's going to get kicked out of the Judgment Day, leading to that match with Dominic Mysterio, because Finn Balor, like I said,
at Chamber.
Yes. Like I reported from that live show that we went to, Finn Balor is a babyface. He got a babyface reaction over Javon Evans, who is a big babyface, and people love him. Finn Balor should come back as his babyface self, bring the demon back against Dirty Dominic Mysterio, and let him win that IC title.
Yo, and it would be dope if he did it, if Dom came out in Dia de los Muertos face paint, like at least half, right? Or Finn.
I think they're gonna come out and fake like they're gonna help, and they're gonna screw him over in some form or fashion. And it's not gonna be an accident either. They're gonna firmly screw him and tell him he's out. I think in the women's chamber, that's where I don't know the direction of where they're gonna go,
bro.
Especially the fact that they threw Kiana James over a Charlotte Flair or a Nia Jax. I don't know what the hell they're gonna do right there.
Yeah, that Kiana James win was fucking. I'm not gonna say maddening, but it was like, what the fuck?
Because you're like, holy, because she was in there with Nia Jax and Charlotte Flair. You're figuring one of those two are gonna win, not the manager partner for the United States champion, but yeah. And then in my last prediction, I think AJ's gonna lose to set up the Mania match with Becky, and I think Danhausen's in the box like everybody else. I think Danhausen is in the box, and I really, if there's anything out of my booking that I really, really want, is that Danhausen comes out of that box, and it's gonna be the best.
Yo, that would be hilarious, bro. That would be hilarious. But I will say this: the box gives me a weird vibe. It feels desperate. I remember when Vince used to do those kind of things.
I was gonna say that it feels Vince's.
It feels very Vince-ish. Yes. And so I'm very nervous as to what's actually going to be in there. If it's Danhausen, I'm happy. And yet at the same time, the box thing is, I don't know. I mean, look, I think that when you have a character like this, you're not afraid he's going to take over the Undertaker's heat, right? You're not afraid he's going to be the new big bad spooky. Why not have Undertaker, be a part of the introduction, the launching of Danhausen, but I just don't think they have a future for Dan. I don't think he's going to be a wrestler. I just think he's going to be that comic. And I'm okay with that. If he's okay with that,
he can be R-Truth. He can be that.
Be R-Truth, maybe. Yeah. I don't know if R-Truth was a seriously good wrestler.
Right. But
I don't think Danhausen is.
But for what he's being portrayed as now, he's a punchline, bro.
It's a comic angle for sure. Yeah. No. I agree. I don't know if can Danhausen get as beloved.
I think
in the universe as he was outside of it in the indies. We'll see. We'll see. You know, I also wonder how many people are going to be familiar with the shtick on Saturday in Chicago. You know, like when they unveil him, is it going to be like a oh
In Chicago, yeah. In Chicago, yes, because he has that indie relationship with the fans, and then he has that relationship with Punk. So the fans in Chicago will know who Danhausen is.
I agree. I think they will. I think Chicago's like the perfect time. But hey man, I'm gonna get started on the Raw recap. I mean on the Raw watch along. You think I should can't in the stream and then retitle everything, or do you think it would be better to just keep live and then redo all the things so that people know it's the Raw recap
I think it would be best to close it down and then open it back up.
and then
Because,
open it back up? Okay,
it's two
I'm gonna do
different
that.
things, two different titles. Not a lot of people, because you like I know the attention span of a viewer is short. Not calling people stupid, but nobody's
No,
gonna
no, no,
stick
not at
around.
all.
Nobody's gonna stick around in a post viewing sense for a 6-hour show.
Very
That's
close. Very, very, very good point. You're right. Okay. Then I'm going to end and come back. Hey, if you want to come back with us, dude, whenever you want,
I'll come
link's
back.
open for you always.
I'll come back and recap with you, and we might even get a story time if y'all are.
Hell
lucky.
yeah. Let's do that. That sounds great. Hell yeah. All right. Well, then, for everybody else, make sure you go to, Talking About Radio, Talking About Sports Radio, put at Talking About Radio will pop up much easier, I think, cause that's what it does for mine. And go there on YouTube, on Twitch, like and sub. Very much appreciative to Machine Gun Matt, who hopefully will be back later. But this has been the show. Make sure you go to Infighting FX at Infighting FX. You got to put the FX at the end. You got to put the at the beginning, all one, and sub. TikTok, X, Twitch, IG, and YouTube. On IG, it's at Mario Munguia as well. But I am going to start using the infighting more. Yeah, so we'll be back in about, I'd say like 10 minutes. And we will be recapping Raw with a watch along. So make sure you hit the sub, make sure you hit the like, make sure you hit the follow. Shout out Machine Gun Matt. Both of us will be back in just a bit. Until 15 minutes from now. Peace.